United voters don't see it that way.
It's pretty disappointing. Just because somebody has voted for you in the past doesn't mean you've earned their vote in the future.
The battleground state of Wisconsin will be a big deal to Republicans next year as well when it hosts the Republican National Convention. In Milwaukee, I'm Garrett Tenney, Fox News.
All right, again, these are the 8 candidates who will be taking the stage there for the first time at this very first GOP debate tonight in Milwaukee. You can also see that one of those was a question as of this afternoon. That was North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. We have since learned that he will be participating despite suffering an Achilles injury. Earlier today, he went out and tweeted this message here, just short and simple, saying, "I'm in. I will be there." As you can see, crutches and a boot on him there. He also spoke with some of our crew members on the ground. Let's play out a little bit of what he had to say here.
Hi there. Well, we had a good walkthrough today, and RNC and Fox have both been very accommodating, trying to see if we can get set up for tonight. And I've got a appointment coming up in a half an hour with one of the leading orthopedic sports surgeons here in Milwaukee that works with professional teams here, and we'll see where we go from there.
How are you feeling after the walkthrough?
Well, the happy it's only one flight of stairs up to the stage and a very sturdy podium, so both of those things were very positive.
And last night you were playing basketball, what happened?
Well, I ended up with I played basketball my whole life and loved the sport and have been on the court when other people have blown their Achilles, and just never thought it was going to ever happen to me, but got a high-grade tear on my Achilles tendon last night, and that's the recommendation for that would be off your feet for a week or more, but we're not going to let that get in the way of what we got going on today. So we'll see what happens when we come out of this appointment.
What are you hoping to accomplish tonight at the end of the night? What are you hoping to walk away from?
Well, I think the thing that we're on a mission to improve every American life, and if people can understand that we're here tonight to talk about issues that really matter to every American, the economy. I mean, inflation, Biden's inflation choking every American family, energy policy adding to that inflation. I mean, the price, every time someone fills up with gas in this country, they ought to be looking at that number and going, that number could be a lot lower if we had different energy policies. And then, of course, national security. I was just down at the border 2 weeks ago with these, brave North Dakota National Guard troops, 2 different deployments. One of them are flying.
All right, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum there speaking after his Achilles injury. We did learn he will be taking part in the debate there. Let's take a moment, though, and step away from that. We'll bring you more of that coverage here in just a moment and give you a live look here. This is out of Fulton County, Georgia, where we are supposed to be getting a live report here, although it looks like our reporter's battery, unfortunately, just powered down. That's what comes with some of the troubles that come with being live, raw, and unfiltered, which is what we do here at Live Now from Fox. She was just about to bring us an update out of Fulton County, so we'll check back in with her in a moment. Instead, let's keep bringing you what Doug Burgum had to say. He has a couple more minutes of commentary here that we want to play out for you, so let's listen in here to this and continue listening on here on Live Now from Fox.
Concerned about how this could impact your ability to be on the campaign trail? Do you plan to keep a full campaign schedule? What are you looking at next?
Well, we'll see where we go, from there. But we do have we're on the road for the next. This is day 1 of a 10-day trip, and right now we haven't canceled or rescheduled anything. So we're hoping to just figure out a way to make it work. In North Dakota, there's a phrase called "cowboy up."
Governor, how concerning was it?
We're going to allow a little bit of question time. If you just come back here, we're going to have you stand like right here, just to give them a little bit of space. We all have experience. We know these things can get intense, so it needs a little bit of space. So you can just stand right here, and then let's not get too close.
Governor, we're from here in Milwaukee. I'm curious what you're seeing, what this doctor advises against not being on the stage.
Well, I'll keep that doctor relationship private, but I would just say we're fortunate to have some friends that help make that recommendation, get us connected with someone who's seen a lot of Achilles tears and ruptures in their life, so we're confident we're seeing the very best, and someone who knows how to put athletes back on the field. And I've been an athlete my whole life, and so happy to get some good advice, and we'll just see where we are after that appointment that's coming up.
Where were you when this happened, and what happened?
Well, we're playing in a pickup game at a local university that has got a great reputation for basketball. So it was a thrill to be playing in one of their gyms, and we were just having a great game of pickup and going hard to the hoop, and boom! And anybody that's ever had this happen, they know what it feels like. It feels like you're getting shot like a coyote in the back leg. I mean, is what it feels like.
Marquette, I'm assuming you're.
Yeah, I guess they'd prefer to be out of that, but people can make their own assumptions. But it was if you're going to go down, go down with one of the top programs in the country.
And Governor, how concerning was this potential setback on the debate night?
Well, of course, when it happens, you're like, oh, darn it. I mean, that's like thing. But, in my life, I don't worry about things I can't control. I focus on the things that we can control. And, when you have a sports injury, then you just got to immediately focus on what can I do to, get back on the field, get back in the game. That's what we've been doing.
We got two more and we got to go. Governor, how much pain are you?
Well, I guess pain is relative, but I'd say I'm fortunate. I didn't have a complete. I have the emergency room thinks I have a high-grade tear as opposed to a total rupture. If I had a total rupture, it'd be a different story. But so far, so good. But I'm someone who's never taken prescription pain meds, and I'm not doing that today. Even though people said that'd be a good idea, because I'd rather.
All right, so hearing from North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum there, speaking after his Achilles injury, we did learn that he is going to be participating in the debate this evening after all, but our crew's catching up with him there for a few minutes, hearing how he's doing following that injury. Not very fun for the North Dakota governor. And giving you a live look here from Fulton County, Georgia. This is where the former president, Donald Trump, who will not be at tonight's debate in Milwaukee, is going to be surrendering to officials there in Fulton County tomorrow. And he's been vocal about his surrender on social media. Let's pull up what he had to say here. Posting on Truth Social, saying nobody has ever fought for election integrity like President Donald J. Trump. For doing so, I will proudly be arrested tomorrow afternoon in Georgia. A Georgia grand jury indicted the former president and 18 others accused co-conspirators last week. Now, among those is Trump's campaign lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. He also turned himself in this afternoon. Before surrendering, Giuliani told reporters this investigation is much bigger than the 2020 election.
Sure, and I'm feeling very, very good about it because I feel like I'm defending the rights of all Americans. And the system of justice is politicized and criminalized for politics.
I just think it's dumb that they want to lock people up for standing up
Donald
for
Trump
America.
told you this. They weren't just coming for him. They want me. Now they've indicted people, in this case, I don't even know who they are. They're just regular people making a normal living.
All right, and you're taking a look here at who has surrendered in Fulton County so far. So Kathy Latham, a Republican official who's facing a total of 11 counts, and her bond was set for $75,000. David Schaefer, the former chairman of the Georgia GOP, is charged with 8 counts. He agreed to a $75,000 bond. Jenna Ellis, a lawyer who is affiliated with the Trump campaign, is charged with 2 counts, and she agreed to a $100,000 bond. John Eastman, a conservative lawyer, is charged with 9 counts. His bond was set at $100,000. Kenneth Cheeseborough, a conservative lawyer, is charged with 7 counts, and his bond was set for $100,000. Ray Smith III, a lawyer for Trump's re-election campaign, faces 12 charges. He agreed to a $50,000 bond. Rudy Giuliani, a former personal attorney to the Trump and, of course, former New York City mayor, faces 13 charges. His bond has been set at $150,000. Scott Hall, a Georgia bail bondsman, faces 7 counts. He agreed to a $10,000 bond. Sidney Powell, a lawyer who is involved in planning Trump's efforts to contest the election, faces 7 charges. Her bond was set for $100,000. So these are the co-defendants who so far have turned themselves in. And of course, this is expected to be a major topic as well that could potentially be brought up at tonight's debate, which is getting started here in about 30 seconds or so. Live Now from Fox is not carrying that debate live, though we do have you covered with post-debate coverage. Live Now's Andrew Kraft there on the ground giving us post-debate analysis once this all wraps up. In the meantime, Fox's Rebecca Castor is in Fulton County. She's bringing us an update on what we can expect ahead of the former president's arrival as he surrenders tomorrow.
Ahead of a Friday deadline, more of former President Donald Trump's alleged co-conspirators are turning themselves into authorities. A busy day in Fulton County, Georgia on Wednesday as Rudy Giuliani and other Donald Trump allies negotiated bond and surrender in their election interference case. The former New York City mayor calls the case a, quote, political prosecution and says he's confident he'll be proven innocent.
I'm fighting for justice. I have been from the first moment. I represented Donald Trump, an innocent man who has now been proven innocent several times.
Mr. Trump plans to surrender on Thursday, and security at the jail will be tight. The sheriff's office says the building will be on a hard lockdown and some public transportation will be rerouted when he arrives.
It's time for him to be held accountable.
On Wednesday, protesters began arriving outside the jail, some coming in from across the country to voice their support for the former president.
I'm one of millions that support him. A lot of people can't come today. I'll be here.
Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis wants the trial to start as early as March. Legal experts say the proceedings will likely come with a high price tag.
The man hours, the police, court, district attorney's office. I think the marker the public can look at is something like the O.J. Simpson trial, which ran into the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
On Thursday morning, supporters of Trump say they plan to hold a rally outside the Fulton County Jail. In Atlanta, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
All right, Rebecca, thanks. And giving you a live look here at the White House as another likely point of conversation this evening at the debate will be, of course, President Biden and the way that he's handled things, his policies. Fox's Jackie Heinrich is giving us a look at what we could expect with this.
What's your expectation for the GOP debate tonight? I have none.
President Biden will be among those watching as GOP White House hopefuls duke it out, and his campaign appears to be playing into the RNC chairwoman's reported warning to Trump that his absence could give Biden cover to opt out of a face-off with the eventual Republican nominee, today declining to commit to general election debates.
We have not had a conversation about that at all. I'm sure one day we will, but it's not today, and I don't have any news on that.
Biden's campaign blanketing Milwaukee with billboards, even a plane, contrasting Biden's policies to what they call the extreme MAGA agenda, also running a $25 million ad campaign.
Wages are going up around here. What President Biden has accomplished is actually helping real people.
The DNC issuing a pre-buttal.
Tonight in prime time, Americans will have an opportunity to see in action the most extreme, the most divisive, the most chaotic slate of presidential candidates in history. And I don't know if it's going to be a debate, but more like a circus.
But Team Biden is not addressing how it will handle Republican criticism of the president's son or congressional investigations into the first family.
McCarthy wakes up every day praying he still has 218 votes to be Speaker of the House. We have really no time to focus on what McCarthy says day by day.
Even as House Speaker Kevin McCarthy warns, an impeachment inquiry could begin as soon as next month.
If they provide us the documents, there wouldn't be a need for impeachment inquiry.
Today, the president stepped out for some shopping with Hunter Biden's son in tow. We've learned that Hunter did join in on the family vacation, but arrived separately on a commercial flight before the rest of the first family got here. In Lake Tahoe, California, Jackie Heinrich, Fox News.
All right, Jackie, thanks so much. Let's give you another live look here from Milwaukee as the debate is now underway.
We'll have an opportunity to see in action the most extreme, the most divisive, the most chaotic slate of presidential candidates in history. And I don't know if it's going to be a debate, but more like a circus.
But Team Biden is not addressing how it will handle Republican criticism of the president's son or congressional investigations into the first family.
McCarthy wakes up every day praying he still has 218 votes to be Speaker of the House. We have really no time to focus on what McCarthy says day by day.
Even as House Speaker Kevin McCarthy warns, an impeachment inquiry could begin as soon as next month.
If they provide us the documents, there wouldn't be a need for impeachment inquiry.
Today, the president stepped out for some shopping with Hunter Biden's son in vacation, but arrived separately on a commercial flight before the rest of the first family got here. In Lake Tahoe, California, Jackie Heinrich, Fox News.
All right, Jackie, thanks so much. Let's give you another live look here from Milwaukee as the debate is now underway. The first GOP debate live now from Fox. Unfortunately, can't carry that one live, though we do have reporters on the ground there, our whole Fox team there as well. We're going to continue to check in with them as this debate continues on to bring you all of this analysis as it's happening here.
I want to see.
No living being should ever eat processed food for every single meal of their life.
Or what a coincidence, like it's just planned or something.
What on earth happened? I don't know. This is by
chance to succeed again. We cannot succeed as a country if you are working hard and you can't afford groceries, a car, or a new home, while Hunter Biden can make hundreds of thousands of dollars on lousy paintings. That is
the first GOP debate of the 2024.
This country. I showed it could be done in the state of Florida. I pledge to you as your president, we will get the job done, and I will not let you down.
He's really trying to have charisma tonight.
Oh my God,
Yep.
that smile at the end.
that was cursed.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Why would you
That's
be
creepy
better
shit.
on the economy than him?
Well, look, I do agree predominantly with what Governor DeSantis just laid out. I think that if you asked every one of us up here, that we would agree predominantly with what he just laid out. Here's the difference. The difference is that we're going to have to work and make sure that we sell these ideas and be able to put ourselves in a position where we get a majority of the vote, not only by winning the Congress and the Senate in 24, but also by having someone who's had the experience of doing it. Now, I was elected as a conservative Republican in a blue state with 61% of the vote, with a Democratic legislature against me the entire time. And we still, through hard, strong decision-making, brought them around to our point of view. We cut taxes in New Jersey. We cut debt in New Jersey. We made sure that each and every time we were confronted with bad Democratic ideas, we stood and stopped them. And when there were good ideas, we brought people together to make progress going forward. Truth and accountability are the things we need to do to fight waste. And I'd say the last thing is this, Brett. We cannot sit by any longer and allow the kind of spending that's going on in Washington, because every dollar they spend is a dollar that these people are not allowed to spend on their children and their grandchildren. It's robbing our country, and it's wrong.
Well, Governor, let me just follow up very quickly. New Jersey,
Really weak
when
start
you were
for him.
governor, had the second
Yeah.
lowest credit
Really
rating
weak.
in the nation after Illinois. It was downgraded 11 times.
Yep. Yeah,
Jeez.
and that's what happens when you inherit a blue state that has done that. But when you look at what we did on debt, Brett, in that state, we cut debt in that state, debt that had been left to us by 3 Democratic gubernatorial predecessors of mine who ran up that debt tremendously. And what you also saw us do was to cut the unemployment rate in half. It was over 10% when I became governor in 2010. What we also did was cut pension payments to public employees to make sure that taxpayers were not being soaked by a public employee union system that was killing the taxpayer.
Thank you, Governor.
Governor Scott, Tim Scott, Senator Scott, excuse me. The song also goes after welfare programs. As a senator, now President Biden argued for freezing federal spending, this was back in the 80s, and dealing with sacred cows. He does not talk about that anymore. You have been a senator, though, for 10 years.
Is this the
So
first
what
time
have
they brought
you
up the
done
welfare
to
part of
rein
Oliver
in
Anthony's song?
The increasing size
Yes.
of government.
Yeah. Tim Scott is the resident black man on the. Yeah, I mean, come on. Jeez.
Spending package. What we also need to understand is that Joe Biden's Bidenomics has led to the loss of $10,000 of spending power for the average family. When you see 16% inflation, your gas is up 40%, your food is up 20%, your electricity is up 20%. We can stop that by turning the spigot off in Washington, sending the money back to the states, and allowing the decisions to be made at their own houses. I helped write the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017. We cut taxes for a single mom like the one that raised me by 70%, for dual households by 60%, returning to the average family $4,000. If you don't send it to Washington, we can't spend it. That's good news for the American people.
Okay, but just to follow up, you did, during the Trump administration, you approved 4.4 trillion, 4.1 trillion, 1.7 trillion over the course of that administration. That's a lot of money.
There's no doubt that during the Trump administration, when we were dealing with the COVID virus, we spent more money. But here's what happened at the end of our time in the majority. We had low unemployment, record low unemployment, 3.5% for the majority of the population, 70-year low for women. African Americans, Hispanics, and Asians had an all-time low, but our inflation was at 2%. Under Joe Biden, we've seen the exact opposite. We've seen inflation explode, which led to 12 Federal Reserve increases that's devastating home buyers today.
Mr. Ramaswamy, you're listening to these answers.
If I may,
hold on
that
one
was our
second.
administration, so I don't know if I get a chance to respond.
No, they're going to go hard on the black man. Oh, they're going in.
Mr. Ramaswamy, listening to all of this, why should voters choose you over more experienced politicians on this stage? You're basically, a blank slate for people. You're 38 years old. You've said that you only voted in 2 presidential elections before this moment, this political race.
So first, let me just address a question that is on everybody's mind at home tonight. Who the heck is this skinny guy with a funny last name, and what the heck is he doing in the middle of this debate stage?
Come on, Vivek.
I'm not a politician, Brett. You're right about that. I'm an entrepreneur. My parents came to this country with no money 40 years ago. I have gone on to found
Completely ignored the question.
Companies. I did it while marrying my wife, Apoorva, raising our 2 sons,
This
following
is
our faith in
giving.
God. That is the American dream. And I am genuinely worried that that American dream will not exist for our 2 sons and their generation unless we do something about it. And I do think Brett is going to take an outsider, because for a long time we have professional politicians in the Republican Party who have been running from something. Now is our moment to start running to something, to our vision of what it means to be an American today. If you have a
Y'all were right.
You don't turn over the keys to the people who broke it again. You hand it over to a new generation to actually fix the problem. That's why I'm in this race, and we're just getting warmed up.
That's a great start.
Vivek said, I'm coming out strong.
Yeah.
Didn't answer anything.
Not a thing.
Yeah.
We've heard all of these voters talking about
And you notice no follow-up questions for he or DeSantis.
Nationally right now, he's beating you in the
Vivek is the
Well, I don't care
GOP's
about
Buttigieg
polls.
for
What
sure.
I care about the fact is that no one is telling the American people the truth. The truth is that Biden didn't do this to us. Our Republicans did this to us too. When they passed that $2.2 trillion COVID stimulus bill, they left us with 90 million people on Medicaid, 42 million people on food stamps. No one has told you how to fix it. I'll tell you how to fix it. They need to stop the spending. They need to stop the borrowing. They need to eliminate the earmarks that the Republicans brought back in. And they need to make sure they understand these are taxpayer dollars. It's not their dollars. And while they're all saying this, you have Ron DeSantis, you've got Tim Scott, you've got Mike Pence. They all voted to raise the debt. And Donald Trump added $8 trillion
Nikki said.
to our debt. And our kids are never going to forgive us for this. And so at the end of the day, you look at the 2024 budget, Republicans asked for $7.4 billion in earmarks. Democrats asked for $2.8 billion. So you tell me who are the big spenders. I think it's time for an accountability.
Wow.
Oh shit.
Nikki Haley.
Damn.
What?
You were mentioned there.
She said y'all getting red.
4% of voters say the cost of groceries is a, quote, major problem for them.
Right.
You blame the Biden administration spending for that increase. But as vice president, your administration spent more than any prior, $7.8 trillion added to the national debt, $3.5 trillion of that before COVID. So does that mean that you're part of the spending problem?
Well, first off, thanks for the question. Thanks for letting me respond to a reference to our administration's record. I'm incredibly proud of the record of the Trump-Pence administration. I mean, in 4 short years, we rebuilt our military. We revived our economy. We unleashed American energy. And we appointed 3 conservatives to the Supreme Court that gave the American people a new beginning for the right to life. Now, Martha, you asked earlier who's the most best prepared for this job. And I must say, with all due respect to all of my friends on the stage, and even to one that's probably looking on, I think unquestionably I am the best prepared, the most tested, the most qualified and proven conservative in this race. I was a leader in the Congress of the United States. I led Indiana where we balanced budgets and had a AAA bond rating when I was governor. And as vice president of the United States, we spent funding to backfill on the military cuts of the Obama administration, and then we were there in the worst pandemic in 100 years. All that being said, I was the first person in this race to say that we've got to deal with the long-term national debt issues. You got people on this stage that won't even talk about issues like Social Security and Medicare. I mean, Vivek, you recently said a president can't do everything. Well, I got news for you, Vivek. I've been in the hallway. I've been in the West Wing. The President of the United States has to confront every crisis facing America.
Can you see my screen?
I will put our nation back on the path to growth and prosperity. And
so let me tell you what just happened. What's the bitch's name? What's her name?
I have no idea.
Yeah, but you did not turn the election around for Donald Trump.
That she was like, we need to take accountability. The Democrats did nothing wrong. You guys need to own up to what you did. Like, what the?
What?
What is your thought process for? Oh, hold on. Let's hear our boy. Vivek.
Oh, my boy's talking.
They love Vivek.
Shut up. I couldn't find the live stream without people looking at it.
The only war that I will declare
Really? Should be on Fox on YouTube.
on the federal administrative
Nope.
state that is the source of those toxic
Not on Rumble?
Like
Rumble.
Yeah, he's crushing it.
What's
Yeah.
Rumble?
Exactly understood Mike Pence's comment.
What do you mean? That's like the new like streaming app for like. That's what Crowder moved to and everything. Oh yeah, there it is.
I balanced budgets.
No, we don't need to hear them.
Cut taxes when I was governor. I mean,
No one
look,
cares
Joe
what you
Biden
were.
has weakened this country at home and abroad. Now is not the time for on-the-job training. We don't need to bring in a rookie.
What up, Caleb? Welcome to chat. You notice how no one's agreeing with him?
30 seconds when you have a rebuttal, okay? And you are up, Governor DeSantis.
That's
So here's
insane.
the thing. Why are we in this mess? Part of it, and a major reason, is because how this federal government handled COVID-19 by locking down this economy. It was a mistake. It should have never happened. And in Florida, we led the country out of lockdown.
The,
We kept our state free and
The
open.
actor-looking guy, I
And
kind of
can
like
tell
him.
you
I was
this,
listening to
as
his
your
like
president, I
his
will
pre-debate
never let the deep state
interview. He's
bureaucrats
decent.
lock you down.
He's
You
at
don't
the
take
he's at the debate with the freaking torn ACL, bro.
You bring Fauci in, you
Yeah,
sit him
that's what
down,
I
and you
heard.
say,
Heard
Anthony,
he fucked
you
his
are
leg up.
fired.
Tampa.
You know what? We're going to bring in.
I just want to finish responding to Mike. I just want to respond to Mike for 1 second because he invoked me back. Listen, now that everybody's gotten their memorized, pre-prepared slogans out of the way, we can actually have a real discussion now.
Oh.
Let's go.
Get him, boy! Get him, Vivek! Get him!
Really, Mike, actually. We're just gonna have some
Tell
fun
his
tonight.
off.
And
Tell
the
him
reality
off.
is, you have a bunch of people, professional politicians,
Ugly ass
super
Mike
PAC
Pence.
puppets, following slogans handed over to them by their 400-page super PACs last week.
Sheesh.
Yeah!
What we face in this primary is this: do you want a super PAC puppet, or do you want a patriot who speaks the truth? Do you want
I got
Yes,
goosebumps.
sir.
What?
which is what you're
Oh.
about, or
Let's
do
go,
you want
Ramaswamy.
revolution? Okay, and I stand on the side of the American.
I'm gonna start calling him Daddy Wami.
We're gonna take
Daddy
I
Swami?
know, right?
Daddy Swami?
Have a moment on the economy. I think that's fair.
Can I address the
There are
COVID
two
issue
people
with
who
the
have.
Shut up,
we're gonna
Pence.
get back
Just
to
shut the
that.
fuck
We are.
up.
There are two people who we
You
have
could just
not
walk
heard
off
from
stage
yet.
and no
We'll
one
hear
would
from Governor
care.
Burgum and then from Governor Hutchinson.
Fact.
Imagine if Trump
Great,
was there
thank you,
against
Martha.
Pence.
And
That'd be
of course,
crazy.
I'm from a town of 300 people. It's a
Oh
big
yeah,
deal
no.
to
I want to
get on
see
the
Trump
stage
and
with all these
Ramaswamy
people.
go at it.
But
I like him. I don't know
Doug
why.
Burgum. I don't like him. He looks too much like a
I think they took
politician.
him a little too literally when they said go to Milwaukee and break a leg. So,
That's.
but I do want to say,
Yeah, no, he definitely
on
had
this,
that
we're
one in
missing
the bag.
something. We can't just talk about the Biden economy because the economy, energy,
that
and
neck,
national
though.
security are all tied together. We, of course, we're paying too much for our
Looks like
energy
his,
in our.
have you seen
in our
that skit
state
where the
right-
guy has
in our
balls as
country
his
right now.
chin?
But part of the reason why
That's
is
what he
because of Biden
reminds.
policies on energy. We've got a plan right now, the $1.2 trillion of Green New Deal spending buried in the Inflation Creation Act is something that is just
Inflation
subsidizing
Creation
China.
Act.
If we're going to stop buying
that's
oil
a
from
big
the Middle
sentence
East and
right
start
there.
buying batteries from China, we're just trading OPEC for Sinopec. And then belatedly, the Biden administration says, no, we're going to put sanctions on Russian oil. Well, we put sanctions on Russian oil. Well, then it's 20% off. Who's buying it? China. So if you buy a battery in this country, you buy a solar panel, it's being produced in a plant in China powered by coal, or it's being powered by oil and gas at 20% off. And every farmer in this country would like to buy diesel at 20% off, just like they're buying it in China.
Governor Hutchinson,
Wow. He's just straight to the point. I like the no filter on some of the politicians, though.
And let me just tell you
Yeah.
that I'm a pro-life governor from a
Oh, shut the hell up.
conservative state that have a conservative record in which I
Fucking
lowered
hate this guy.
taxes in Arkansas as governor. I created a $2 billion surplus. that
Even
I
if he was
passed
like,
over
I
to
will
my
like kill
successor,
all liberals, I
and
still wouldn't like
I
him.
made sure that we shrunk the size of government.
I don't know why I
We
don't
have
like him either.
14% fewer state employees in Arkansas after I left government than when I took over as governor.
He has a
8
whole nother
years ago.
flag on his.
I
Is
tell
that his
because
Arkansas flag?
That's
That's not
what we
Arkansas's
need in
flag, right?
Washington, D.C. We need
Is that
somebody
Israel?
who can actually constrain the
I don't know.
federal government, that can actually reduce the
I can't
size.
say.
And I've pledged to reduce by 10% our federal non-defense workforce. That's a specific pledge to make that attacks the
Caleb said
administrative
speaks
state.
facts in chat.
And let
Caleb's
me applaud
10.
some of the business partners that are here that have had success in business. But let me tell you, I've been a federal prosecutor. I've served our country in terms of being head of the
You want a sticker?
DEA, in Homeland Security, in times of
want a
crisis.
cookie too?
And
Fucking
while
old
I
fuck.
think that that's experience that is important for the future of our country, to be
I
the
hate this old
president of the
man.
United
He's
States
so
that can
fucking
lead
boring.
with positive solutions to be held
I
accountable.
want the fights.
Thank
Stop
you.
fighting.
We have a lot of topics to get to, and I promise we're
He's
going
such a
to get to
fucking
everyone
idiot.
if we play
He
with
started
our
it off.
rules.
I'm a
Okay, next up.
pro-life
More than
fucking
1,000
conservative.
I'm a pro-life
whatever.
conservative. Good for
unaccounted
you.
for
So are we
in
all,
Maui.
dumbass.
After the deadliest U.S. wildfire in more than a century, Hawaii's governor and White House officials said that climate change amplified
Caleb
the
said
cost of
95-year-old ass.
And a tropical storm hit California for the first time
Yeah,
in
what is
maybe
that?
4 years.
Caleb's
The
10.
ocean hit 101 degrees off the
He
coast
looks
of
about
Florida.
95 though.
And in the last month, the heat wave in the Southwest broke records nearly 50 years old.
So
Okay,
Alexander
that's a heat
Diaz
wave. What
from
the
Young
fuck you want us to
America's
do?
Foundation
Put ice
has a
outside?
question for you.
All right.
Polls consistently show that young people's #1 issue is climate
The
change.
fuck
How
is
will
this
you,
guy?
as both President of the United States and leader of the Republican
Climate
Party,
change is
calm their
fucking
fears that
fake.
The Republican Party doesn't care about climate change.
So we
we
want to
don't.
start
I
on
don't.
this with a show of hands.
I don't
It's
give a
fake as fuck.
about climate change. If I burn, I
in
burn.
Human behavior is
30 years ago, it was
Raise your hand if you
climate
do.
cooling.
Look, we're not school children.
10
We're
years
having
ago,
a
it was
debate. I mean, I'm happy to take it to
fucking
start.
whatever. They keep changing it
They're
up.
gonna change it just to try and get their fucking
That's the way to do.
political
So let me
shit
just
through.
say to Alexander this. First of all,
Shut the fuck
one of the
up.
reasons
Imagine he
our
said that.
country's declined is because of the way the corporate
I would
media
laugh so hard.
treats Republicans versus Democrats.
Uh-oh.
Biden was on the beach while those
Yeah.
people were suffering.
Okay.
He was asked about it. He said, "No comment." Are you kidding me? As somebody that's handled disaster
I'll be right
in
back.
Florida, you
Right.
got to be activated. You've got to be there. You've got to be present. You've got to be helping people who are doing this. And here's the deal.
Oh.
So is that a yes or is that a yes? Is that a hand raise?
You do not.
I think it was a hand raise for him, and it's my hands are in my pockets.
No,
because
no,
the
I
climate
didn't
change
raise-
agenda
I
is
didn't
a
raise a
hoax. Let us be
Oh!
honest, Republicans. I'm the only person on the stage who isn't bought and paid for, so I can say this. The climate change agenda is a hoax.
Oh! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
anti-carbon agenda is the wet blanket on our economy.
Oh!
And so the reality is more people are dying of bad climate change policies than they are.
Oh my God! He said it! He said it! He said it! He said it!
I've had enough already tonight.
He
of a guy
said
who
it!
sounds like ChatGPT.
Get him!
The last
Oh!
debates, Brett, who
God.
stood in the middle of the stage and said, "What's a skinny guy with an odd last name doing up here?" was Barack Obama, and I'm afraid we're dealing with the same type of amateur.
Shut up, fatty. No one knows you. You're nobody. Why are you talking? Why are you talking? No one knows you. You're a governor in a Democratic state running for Republican. You're not cool, bro. No one knows you.
Are you
So,
bought and
Brett,
paid
what
for?
I would like to say is the fact that I think this is exactly why Margaret Thatcher said, if you want something said, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman.
Who are you? You too. No one knows who you are either. Get the fuck off the stage, bro.
Clean air, clean water. We want to see that taken care of.
That's a
But there's
thing. Just
right
don't
way
be
to do
dirty,
it.
dumb.
And the right way to do it is, first of all, yes, is climate change real? Yes, it is. But if you
No,
want to
it's
really change the
not.
environment, then we need to start telling China and India that they have to lower their emissions.
You can't control another country. Step up to your own
And
country,
these
buddy.
green subsidies that Biden has put in, all he's done is help China because he doesn't understand all these electric vehicles that he's done. What that does,
You're not
half
proving
of the
anything, bro.
batteries
You're
for electric
not.
Vehicles are made in China.
You're
And
not
so
proving
that's
anything.
Not helping the environment. You're putting money in China's pocket, and Biden did that.
I know, Caleb, and
first
she's
of
not
all, I
even
think we need to
relevant, bro. Like,
acknowledge
she
the
doesn't even know what
truth,
she's
which is
saying.
These subsidies are not working. We also need to take on the international world and say, okay, India and China, you've got to stop polluting, and that's when we'll start to deal with
Senator
climate
Scott, are
change.
you bought and paid for?
up!
Absolutely.
Huh?
Bought and paid for?
I'm sorry.
Are you bought and paid
Absolutely not. I mean, here's what the American people deserve: is a debate
Y'all are
about the
little
issues that
bitches,
affect
bro.
their lives. Going back and forth, being childish, is not helpful to the American people to decide on the next leader. of our
Shut
country.
up! No one
Number two,
knows you. Get off the
as a kid who grew up in a
stage.
single-parent household mired in poverty.
Thank
I
you,
wondered,
Caleb. Get
what
off the
is American
stage.
dream
Bye-bye.
real for kids who are devastated by poverty,
gotta-
devastated by the challenges of life.
This is gonna
I came to
piss
the
me
conclusion that
off.
America can do for anyone what she's done for me if we focus on restoring hope, creating opportunities, and protecting America. If we want the environment to be better, and we all do, the best thing to do is to bring our jobs home.
No, the
from
best thing
China.
is for you to
If
get
we
off
create
stage, bruh.
10 million new jobs in my
Bye.
America plan, we will
Bye.
have
You got
a
no
better
votes.
economy
No votes.
and
No
a
one's
better
voting for you.
environment.
Get
Let
off
me
the
tell you why I say that,
stage.
Brett. America,
Do it quickly.
America has cut. I'm a Southern boy. I talk slow. So America. That was quick. America has cut our carbon footprint in half in the last 25 years. The places where they are continuing to increase: Africa, 950 million people. India, over 1 billion.
You're talking about
China,
other
over 1 billion.
countries. You're
Why
running
do
for
we put
United
ourselves at a
States, dumbass.
disadvantage? Devastating our own economy.
Oh,
Let's
really?
bring our jobs
Oh,
home.
we
a lot
have.
of different topics to get to.
Yeah, we do. We thank you all. Thank you, Senator Scott. So coming up next, the candidates will weigh in on what could be a defining issue in the 2024 campaign. The first Republican debate continues moments away.
No, hey. What a start, boys. What a start.
How we talk about women and how we show them that we care.
We're going to stand up for the unborn in Washington, D.C. And if you cannot do that, you should not be the nominee for the Republican Party.
There you go.
This is a defining moment.
Do you trust our government and
That was-
where the economy is
whoa,
heading?
who's that
Does
guy?
the thought of losing your
Never
hard-earned
heard of him,
retirement
never seen
savings
him.
to DC's reckless spending scare the heck out of you? Well, you're not alone. Smart Americans are taking action while they still can by reaching out to Birch Gold Group. For over 20 years, Birch Gold has helped concerned Americans protect their futures by moving part of an existing IRA or 401k into a physical gold IRA. Because when things are a mess, like right now, Americans turn to gold. With an A+ rating, with a Better Business Bureau, and thousands of happy customers, Birch Gold is the trusted leader in gold. They're busier than ever because people are taking control of their savings away from the government and into their own hands. Text the word NOW to the number 989898 to get a free info kit on gold. There's no pressure and no obligation, just information. So get your no-cost info kit now. Text NOW to 989898.
Oh, that was a...
Have you?
That was a start, guys. That was definitely a start. Wow. Wow. It's on Rumble. It's a commercial, Caleb. I don't know. I know your generation doesn't know what those are, but they're commercials. They happen in between shows. Rooster, where you at, bro?
Abortion has been a losing issue for Republicans since the Dobbs decision. In 6 state referendums, all have upheld abortion rights in this country. And even in red states, there are more swing state referendums that are coming up as we head into the elections as well on this. So, Governor Haley, what do you say to your party and to your state, which today confirmed a 6-week abortion law as well, especially the impact on women suburban voters across this country?
Thank you, Martha. I am unapologetically pro-life, not because the Republican Party tells me to be, but because my husband was adopted and I had trouble having both of my children, so I'm surrounded by blessings. Having said that, we need to stop demonizing this issue. This is talking about the fact that unelected justices didn't need to decide something this personal, because it's personal for every woman and man. Now it's been put in the hands of the people. That's great. When it comes to a federal ban, let's be honest with the American people and say it will take 60 Senate votes. It will take a majority of the House.
Caleb. Nobody,
so in order
not
to
a
do
single
that,
person.
let's find consensus. Can't we all agree that we should ban late-term abortions? Can't we all agree that we should encourage adoptions? Can't we all agree that doctors and nurses who don't believe in abortion shouldn't have to perform them? Can't we all agree that contraception should be available? And can't we all agree that we are not going to put a woman in jail or give her the death penalty if she gets an abortion? Let's treat this like a respectful issue that it is and humanize the situation and stop demonizing the situation.
Brett.
Very boring answer.
Vice President Pence. Governor DeSantis, you signed a 6-week abortion ban in Florida. One of your biggest financial backers said that you need to, quote, shift to get moderates or you will lose. What do you say to him and others who say politically that is a tough thing to sell nationally?
Well, I would say we sold the biggest election landslide victory in the history of the Republican Party in the state of Florida in 2022. That's what I did. We can win. But second of all, look, you got to do what you think is right. I believe in a culture of life. I was proud to sign the heartbeat bill. I remember one of the most impactful moments of my life was when I heard the heartbeat of my oldest daughter in my wife's womb and then saw the sonograms of all 3 of my kids. What the Democrats are trying to do on this issue is wrong, to allow abortion all the way up to the moment of birth. I know a lady in Florida named Penny. She survived multiple abortion attempts. She was left discarded in a pan. Fortunately, her grandmother saved her and brought her to a different hospital. We're better than what the Democrats are selling. We are not going to allow abortion all the way up till birth, and we will hold them accountable for their extremism.
But just to be clear, Governor, would you sign a 6-week ban federally?
I'm going to stand on the side of life. Look, I understand Wisconsin is going to do it different than Texas. I understand Iowa and New Hampshire are going to do different. But I will support the cause of life as governor and as president.
Vice President Pence, you're shaking your head.
Have a national.
Hold on, Senator. Vice President Pence, you're shaking your head.
Well, look, I'm not new to this cause. After I gave my life to Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, I opened up the book and I read, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And see, I set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life." And I knew from that moment on the cause of life had to be my cause. And I've been a champion for life in the Congress, a champion for life as governor and as vice president. And to be honest with you, Nikki, you're my friend, but consensus is the opposite of leadership. When the Supreme Court returned this question to the American people, they didn't just send it to the states only. It's not a states only issue, it's a moral issue. And I promise you, as President of the United States, the American people will have a champion for life in the Oval Office. Can't we have a minimum standard in every state in the nation that says when a baby is capable of feeling pain, an abortion cannot be allowed? A 15-week ban is an idea whose time has come. It's supported by 70% of the American people, but it's going to take unapologetic leadership that stands on principle and expresses compassion for women in crisis pregnancies. I'll do that as President of the United States.
He called my name, so I want to respond to that. 30 seconds. So first of all, I will say it is in the hands of the people, and that's where it should be. But when you're talking about a federal ban, be honest with the American people. We haven't had 45 pro-life senators in over 100 years. So no Republican president can ban abortions any more than a Democrat president could ban all those state laws. Don't make women feel like they have to decide on this issue when you know we don't have 60 Senate votes in the House.
70% of the American people support legislation to ban abortion after a baby is capable of experiencing pain. It's just going to take leadership.
Hold on.
70% of the Senate does not. You have to be honest with the American people.
We have to have a 15-week limit.
Let's get Governor Bergman for one minute here. But the Supreme Court did overturn Roe v. Wade, and the result of that decision was that it went back to the states. So that's where it is right now. So as I understand it, you are not in favor of a federal ban. What do you say about the states? There's about 5 of them, including New Jersey, I think a few others, that allow abortion up until the time of birth, though. If you were president, would you be able to abide that?
Well, first of all, I'm a pro-life governor of a very pro-life state. And this issue is, of course, very important. But I am on the record, and I stand behind that we should not have a federal abortion ban. We should not. And the reason why we shouldn't is very simple. It's the 10th Amendment in the Constitution. In the Constitution, which the states created the federal government, not the other way around, it says that there were certain duties allowed to the federal government delegated to them by the states. The rest are left to the states, comma, or importantly, or to the people. We need to get back to freedom and liberty for the people in this country. And we can't have Republicans who fight for 50 years for this great cause and to return it back to the states, and then the next day they turn around and go, no, the feds should do that, because the feds are stepping into people's lives, they're stepping into people's businesses.
Is that what you're saying? You're saying
we say that the
publicly
feds should be in on this one, where do we stop?
children.
I say that we follow the Constitution, and this is return to the states. This is
You're
where
out
it
of the
should be.
running.
Governor
Thank
Burgum, you
you.
signed a 6-week ban. Time out. You signed a 6-week
You're out of the
ban.
running. Bye.
Governor Burgum, you signed a 6-week ban. So you're saying federally, it's all going to go to the states.
Yes, and what is going to work in New York will never work in North Dakota, and vice versa. That's
Governor
why 50
Asa
states.
Hutchinson,
That's why
right
50
here.
states.
This is too important of an issue that I have to address. First of all, the Supreme Court gave it back to the elected representatives, whether it's the states or whether it's the United States Congress. So there is authority, and that's why President Biden is pushing for a Democrat proposal, which is, in essence, abortion on demand through the term. So they have their extreme position at a national level. It's most likely going to be addressed in the states, but it's certainly fine for it to be addressed at the national level as well. Arkansas has the record of being the most pro-life state in the nation. I signed 30 pro-life pieces of legislation while I was governor. And every state can determine a different outcome here. And it is the most important issue for women and for the unborn child and for our country that we get this right. It's going to be a continued debate. Let's talk about it in terms of compassion, in terms of protecting the life, and also understanding how we have to enhance adoption services, how we have to enhance maternal care. Those things we've done in Arkansas and are important for our nation's future.
There are a lot of issues that are very important. Senator, I'll let you weigh in.
We cannot let states like California, New York, and Illinois have abortions on demand up until the day of birth. That is immoral. It is unethical. It is wrong. We must have a president of the United States who will advocate and fight for, at the minimum, a 15-week limit. I am 100% pro-life conservative. I have a 100% pro-life record. I got to tell you, though, we must fight for life. Our Declaration of Independence says our Creator gave us inalienable rights that include life. That is a list. That is an issue we must solve. We can't leave it to Illinois. We can't leave it to Minnesota. We can't leave it to Illinois. We must solve that issue with a 15-week limit at a minimum.
Thank you,
Brett, I
Senator.
think we're all pro-life, but
The
what
lady
I would love
down
is
far
for
right and
someone
far
to
left
ask
are
Biden
gone
and
for me.
Kamala Harris,
You're
are
not
they for
even-
38 weeks? Are they for 39
They don't
weeks?
even
Are
have
they
a
for
chance.
40 weeks? Because that's what the media needs to be asking.
All right, another issue is America and the crime crisis, the homelessness crisis. American cities are in decline. People are moving out as homelessness, drugs, crime move in. There are problems accelerated. They did accelerate during the pandemic and are still rising, actually.
Let Vivek
Murders in
speak.
Los
He's the only one with
Angeles, New
knowledge over
York,
there.
Chicago, all up 30% between 2019 and 2022. Homelessness is up 11%, the largest jump in recorded history. Vice President Pence, a lot of this began in the COVID era. How much of what we're seeing happening around this country is a result of those COVID lockdowns, and is your administration in part to blame for how we got here?
Well, I think what's in part to blame is the Democrats have been talking about defunding the police for the last 5 years. And we ought to be funding law enforcement,
That wasn't the
particularly in our
question.
major cities, at
wasn't the
unprecedented
question.
levels. I mean, it's extraordinary to think about the violence that's claiming innocent lives literally every week in every major city in this country. And yet Democrats and liberal
happened with Cops
prosecutors
too,
in major
bro.
metropolitan areas
You're not
continue
making a valid point
to
right
work
now.
out their fanciful agendas, to do bail reform and go easy. What we need is strong commitment to law enforcement. We need leadership in Washington, D.C. that'll marshal the resources of the states, marshal the resources of the American people. But let me also say it's about opportunity. I mean, a lot of people don't know that those Trump-Pence tax cuts that we got signed into law go away at the end of 2025 if we don't have a Republican president and a Republican House and a Republican Senate. When I'm president of the United States, we're actually going to cut taxes
There's
further.
not a
We're going to
win. You're
extend
not
those
him.
tax cuts, and we're going to close the Federal Department of Education, block grant all that funding back to the states. With a growing economy and educational choice and law enforcement, we will bring our cities back.
Governor Christie, another issue. This weekend here in Milwaukee, reports say there were 30 shootings, and a number of them including kids. Add that to the big increase in school shootings around the country. Democrats blame this crisis on easy access to guns. They also blame Republicans for blocking gun control legislation. What would President Christie do?
You know, I'm proud of the fact, Brett, that I'm the only person, along with Governor Hutchinson, up on this stage who's actually running United States Attorney's Office. I ran the 5th largest office in America in a state where there is significant urban crime. And the problem is not going to be solved by more money. The problem is that these prosecutors in these localities in the states are refusing to do their job and to arrest violent criminals. So what a President Christie would do is appoint an attorney general who would instruct each of the 93 U.S. attorneys that they are to take over the prosecution of violent crime in every one of those cities that are failing to do so. We have plenty of room in the federal prisons to lock up these violent criminals and clean up what's going on all across this country in these individual cities. Secondly, what we need to make sure that each and every one of these criminals understand is that the laws apply to everybody. And when Hunter Biden fills out a fake application, a false application for a gun permit, and then is facing a 10-year mandatory minimum, which was mandated by legislation sponsored by his father, and then you have a Justice Department that walks away from those charges, we're telling people that the law doesn't apply to everybody. In a Christie administration, he would go to jail for 10 years.
What about a President Ramaswamy?
That's good.
What does a President Ramaswamy do about guns?
So the reality is we have a crime wave in this country and we know how to fix it. The question is, do we actually have the spine to do it? More cops in the streets who are on the streets able to do their jobs without looking over their shoulder for getting sued. And we also have a mental health epidemic in this country. Just over the same period that we have closed mental health institutions, we have seen a spike in violent crime. Do we have the spine to bring them back? I think we should. As president, I will. But it's not just drugging up people in those psychiatric institutions with Zoloft and Seroquel. It's a deeper issue. I think faith-based approaches can play a role here, too. We're in the middle of a national identity crisis. And I say this as a member of my generation. The problem in our country right now, the reason we have that mental health epidemic, is that people are so hungry for purpose and meaning at a time when family, faith, patriotism, hard work have all disappeared. What we really need is a tonal reset from the top, saying that this is what it means to be an American. Yes, we will stand for the rule of law. Yes, we will close the southern border where criminals are coming in every day. And yes, we will back law enforcement because we remember who we really are. And that's also how we address that mental health epidemic in the next generation that is directly leading to violent crime across this country.
Governor DeSantis, really quickly. Governor DeSantis.
We don't have an identity crisis with that. We're not looking for a new national identity. The American people are the most faith-filled, freedom-loving, idealistic.
Who are you? No one wants you. You're not getting voted for.
Well, Mike, I think the difference is you might have some others like you may have on the stage. It's Morning in America speech. It is not Morning in America. We live in a dark moment, and we have to confront the fact that we're in an internal, sort of cold cultural civil war. And we have to recognize that
people with the failed government in Washington, D.C. We just need government as good as our people again.
So let me just finish addressing that slogan because I don't know what that slogan means. We need to shut down the administrative state. That's actually how we translate it.
Crime has been on the rise in Florida, Governor DeSantis. How do you stop crime.
Well, actually, crime's at a 50-year low
Not
in Florida.
not in Miami.
We're happy with that. Well, the statewide, it's a 50-year low. And so here's the thing. These hollowed out cities, this is a symptom of America's decline. And one of the biggest reasons is because you have George Soros funding these radical left-wing district attorneys. They get into office and they say they're not going to prosecute crimes they disagree with. The inmates start running the asylum. There's one guy in this entire country that's ever done anything about that. Me. When we had 2 of these district attorneys in Florida elected with Soros funding who said they wouldn't do their job, I removed them from their posts. They are gone.
Y'all are falling for this guy. What are y'all doing?
As president, we are going to go after all of these people because they are hurting the quality of life and they are victimizing innocent people in every corner of this country, and it will stop when I get into office.
Okay, one more here before the break, Governor Burgum.
Brett and Martha, I just thought it was interesting. You asked your question about the problems we're having in big cities. Nobody ever asked the question of what about the crime wave in small towns? Because in a small town, neighbors help neighbors. People understand each other. If a farmer gets sick, everybody comes together and helps them get the crop off. There's accountability. There's transparency. One thing that I think this country could use is somebody in the White House that understands small town values, because that's our road back to get this country on track again.
Bye.
Governor Hutchinson.
As former head of the DEA, I understand the drug crisis in America.
I'm taking my
and
headphones
right
off.
now,
He
whenever
doesn't say
you
anything
look
important
at the
anyways.
challenges in our
Never
inner
has.
city,
Probably never will. That's why he's
there's
not
3
making it far.
simple words that would be helpful. 1, enforce the law when it comes to crime. Secondly, let's deal with the challenge of fentanyl. And it's both about stopping the fentanyl coming from Mexico, but it's also about education of our young people, making sure that we have the tools that are needed for addiction counseling. That's what we expanded in Arkansas as well. Whenever you look at the underlying challenge of America, though, no one likes to see an America with smash and grab in our inner cities. As President of the United States, that will stop. It starts at the top with the respect for our justice system that a former president who's under indictment has undermined by attacking judges, by attacking prosecutors, by attacking
boring,
the
bro.
system
Bye.
and saying he's aggrieved. And so we have to have respect for our justice system and the rule of law, and it starts at the top with the President of the United States.
Brett, thank you.
Let
Hold
me
on.
take a break. So, speaking of that, right now you are looking live at Fulton County Jail, where former President Donald Trump will be processed tomorrow. So next, the candidates will have an opportunity to talk about the coming trials of Donald Trump.
Do you trust our government and where the economy?
Yeah, these people are lost. I don't know what they're doing. Vivek and DeSantis are the only ones with chances right now because they're all blowing it, bro. Like, how are you going to go around saying you're pro-life, but then say you're going to support the states doing whatever they want? Make it make sense, bro. What kind of president are you, bro? Like, come on. Then we got this other chick, I don't even know her name. She's not even relevant, bro. You can get off stage too. I know 4 people that can already just walk off and no one would care. They're not getting votes, they're not gaining votes, not losing votes, no one's voting for them. We just need to get them gone. I'm done with this freaking charade shit and this fucking politician shit. Vivek has the knowledge. He knows what he's doing. He's young. He knows what we want, and everyone else is sitting up there repeating what they've been repeating for the past 20 years. God. It's gonna piss me off too, like they're being stupid, bruh. We're not getting anything done with these people on stage, bro. Like, they're not doing anything for us.
Best on target on time, boys! 5 more things!
Use the Aslan one. I'm done with this freaking debate already, bro.
YouTube, why are you dressed like that?
Well, I've been seeing a lot of violations in the community lately, so I'm enforcing that.
You mean like people not following your policies?
Strike one!
What if someone tells the truth, but it's labeled as misinformation?
Strike two!
Wow, what if I want to ask questions and have different opinions on things?
Strike three! You're out of here!
Does the
That's true, though. That's how it works.
free info kit?
I'm gonna play it now. Frozen on the screen. Got it.
Well, we have a lot to get to in this second hour of this GOP primary debate. Policy discussions the Americans want to hear you all on. China, Ukraine, immigration, education. But we are going to take a brief moment and talk about the elephant not in the room.
Former President Trump has been indicted in 4 different states on 91 counts. He will be processed tomorrow in Georgia at the Fulton County Jail for charges relating to the 2020 election loss.
You all signed a pledge to support the eventual Republican nominee. If former President Trump is convicted in a court of law, would you still support him as your party's choice? Please raise your hand if you would.
Oh, you guys are pussies waiting for Vivek to do it. Vivek's the only one that had the balls to do it until everyone else got scared and raised their hand.
Kind of late to the game there, but you raised your hand.
No, I'm doing this. Look, I'm doing this.
And I know you didn't.
Whoa. No, come. What's the look? Here's the bottom line. Someone's got to stop normalizing this conduct. Okay? Now, whether or not you believe that the criminal charges are right or wrong, the conduct is beneath the office of President of the United States. And you know, this is the great thing about this country. Booing is allowed, but it doesn't change the truth. It doesn't change the truth.
Mr. Ramaswamy, you raised your hand supporting.
I'd like to get in and respond. Let's just speak the truth, okay? President Trump, I believe, was the best president of the 21st century. It's a fact. And Christie, honest to God, your claim that Donald Trump is motivated by vengeance and grievance would be a lot more credible if your entire campaign were not based on vengeance and grievance against one man.
Damn.
Want to see a bunch of people blindly bashing Donald Trump without an iota of vision for this country? They could just change the channel to MSNBC right now. But I'm not running for president of MSNBC. I am running for president of the United States. We're skating on thin ice, and we cannot set a precedent where the party in power uses police force to indict its political opponents. It is wrong.
Come on, Fatty. What's Fat Boy got to say?
In this country. 30 seconds, Governor DeSantis.
You know, let me tell you
No, I'm sorry. 30 seconds, Governor
You
Christie.
make me laugh because
Goes
you
both ways, brother.
sit here in an answer. You sit here in an answer.
He's already gone. No one's voting for him.
You sit here in an answer.
Go ahead, Governor Christie.
Hold on, Governor Christie.
Hold on.
Well, so listen, the more time we spend doing this, the less time they can talk about issues you want to talk about. So let's just get through this section. Governor Christie.
You sit here talking about how you want to stand up for the rule
Everyone's
of law.
booing you. Shut
and
up,
law and
bro.
order.
Why are you talking?
And the fact is that it can't be selective. In your book, you had much different things to say about Donald Trump than you're saying here tonight.
That's not true.
Well, it is very true.
That is not
It's
true.
very true. I read it,
Because
and
there's
I
a
know.
difference
Look,
between bad
I know.
behavior and illegal
By the way,
behavior, Chris, and you as a
by the way,
prosecutor should know better.
Yeah, you know what? I know a lot
There's
better.
a difference between bad behavior. And
I know a lot better than you do. You've never done it like you've never done anything to try to advance the interests of this government except to put yourself forward as a candidate tonight. And here's the thing. We've stood up for law and order. I did it as U.S. attorney. I did it as governor. And I am not going to bow to anyone when we have a president of the United States who disrespects the Constitution. He said,
your MSNBC contributor.
he said,
These are politicized indictments, and we have to call out the truth.
Martha, it's important to say that the president said, Donald Trump said, it's okay to suspend the Constitution. Now, the oath you take is to preserve, protect, and defend, not suspend. I will always stand up for our Constitution, regardless of the political pressure.
We have another question for you. We're going to get everyone in on this issue, but I have another question.
Get him the fuck out of here.
Hold on.
Fat boy, like you're not winning.
So
You've been booed the whole
President
time.
Trump's former vice president is on this stage tonight. He has faced hecklers on the campaign trail
Pence is a bitch
over his
too.
actions on January
No
the 6th.
one wants him either.
On that day, the vice president moved forward with the certification
DeSantis
of the
and
election.
Vivek Ramaswamy are the only people
So do
who
you
are going to have a
believe
chance.
that Mike Pence did the right thing, Senator Scott? Do you believe he did the right thing?
Absolutely. He did the right thing. Number one. Number two, we should be asking ourselves a bigger question about the weaponization of the Department of Justice. When I'm president, the first thing I'll do is fire Merrick Garland. Second thing I'll do, fire Christopher Wray, because we need Lady Justice to wear a blindfold. Without that, no one has confidence in our justice system. 17% of Republicans have confidence in our Department of Justice. Here's why. We keep seeing not only the weaponization of the Department of Justice against political opponents, but also against parents who show up at school board meetings. They're called, under this DOJ, they're called domestic terrorists.
Firing Christopher Wray
that's not
to shut down the FBI. Actually have the courage to get it right.
Mr. Ramaswamy.
Let me finish my comments.
Yes.
Not only that, in addition to that, we see the SWAT team show up at pro-life activist homes with guns drawn because this DOJ uses their power, uses their authority, not just against political opponents, but against conservatives and conservative causes. It is time for a change in America, and I will bring that change to the greatest nation on God's green earth.
But Governor DeSantis, do you believe that Mike Pence did the right thing on January 6th?
So here's what we need to do. We need to end the weaponization of these federal agents.
Why don't you answer the question?
That's not the question.
I know, but here's the thing. This election is not about January 6th of 2021. It's about January 20th of 2025 when the next president is going to take office. I know what the Democrats would like to do. They want to talk about all these other issues, but we've got to focus on your future. We've got to focus on reversing the decline of our country. I learned in the military, I was assigned with U.S. Navy SEALs in Iraq, that you focus on the mission above all else. You can't get distracted. So Republicans, we've got to look forward, and we've got to make sure that we're bringing the message that can win in November 2024.
Vice President Pence, what do you think, Vice President, is to support and defend the Constitution of the United States? I think the American people deserve to know whether everyone on this stage agrees that I kept my oath to the Constitution that day. There's no more important duty. So answer the question.
What you did, bro. No one
I've
likes
answered this
you.
before.
So yes.
Why are we? Mike did his duty. I got no beef with him. But here's the thing: is this what we're going to be focusing on
I'm relieved.
going forward? The rehashing of this. I'll tell you,
Governor
the
DeSantis,
Democrats would love that, and they will win if we let them get away with it. I'm not letting Biden hang out in the basement this time. We're going to run him ragged around this country, and we're going to hold him accountable.
Let me just say, Governor DeSantis, we spent an hour talking about policy. Former President Trump is beating you by 30, 40 points in many polls. So it is a factor in the GOP primary. Governor Hutchinson, you did not raise your hand.
I did not raise my hand because there's an important issue we as a party have to face. And over a year ago, I said that Donald Trump was morally disqualified from being president again as a result of what happened on January 6th. More people are understanding the importance of that, including conservative legal scholars who says he may be disqualified under the 14th Amendment from being president again as a result of the insurrection. This is something that could disqualify him under our rules and under the Constitution. And so, obviously, I'm not going to support somebody who's been convicted of a serious felony or who is disqualified under our Constitution, and that's consistent with RNC rules. And I hope everybody would agree with me.
We're going to get to a lot more time.
We're going to move on. No, we're going to.
Martha, can I answer the question?
Can I get in on this?
Okay, I'd like to answer.
I've already been in on it, Vice President Pence.
All right, I'd like to answer the question you asked and not give a pre-canned speech. Mike Pence stood for the Constitution, and he deserves not grudging credit. He deserves our thanks as Americans for putting his oath of office and the Constitution of the United States before personal, political, and unfair pressure. And the argument that we need to have in this party before we can move on to the issues that Ron talked about is we have to dispense with the person who said that we need to suspend the Constitution to put forward his political career. Mike Pence said no, and he deserves credit for it.
Okay. Governor Haley, we haven't heard from you on this. Do you agree? Do you agree that Vice President Pence did the right thing that day or not?
I do think that Vice President Pence did the right thing, and I do think that we need to give him credit for that. But what I will also tell you is, look, I mean, when it comes to whether President Trump should serve or not, I trust the American people. Let them vote. Let them decide. But what they will tell you is that it is time for a new generational conservative leader. We have to look at the fact that 3/4 of Americans don't want a rematch between Trump and Biden.
Shut
and
up.
we have to face the fact that Trump is the most disliked politician in America. We can't win a general election that way.
Are you dumb?
Governor Bergen.
It's Governor Bergen, opportunity.
Happy to answer the question. Mike Pence did the right thing on January 6th. But I would say you started off the top of this hour saying we're going to talk about China, Ukraine, education.
We are.
China is the number one threat to our country. And every minute that these 8 candidates spend talking about the past instead about the future is time that
You
is
don't talk about America, though. That's your problem, bro. That's your problem.
When we're talking
That's
about
your
the past.
problem.
As promised, we were going to spend a few questions on it, let people say what they wanted to say. And now, indeed, we are moving on to the subject.
The U.S. has committed nearly 77.
Can I speak on this issue? I was
You
kind of
did.
involved.
You answered on this.
You did
You did
say
answer.
something.
Yeah.
We thought you were done, but you
No,
please.
I wasn't done.
Well, Mike, why don't you say this? Join me in making a commitment that on day one you would pardon Donald Trump. I'm the only candidate on the stage who had the courage to actually say it. That is how we move our nation
That's my
forward.
boy right there. That's my boy.
That's exactly
Trump
right.
will be convicted of these crimes.
You should be able to make a commitment. The same justice system that was this
Vivek,
corrupt.
Here's the difference between you and me.
Yeah, I'm not a professional politician.
You and I,
I've actually given pardons when I was governor of the state of Indiana. It usually follows a finding of guilt and contrition by the individual that's been convicted.
We
So,
don't want you
look,
though.
well,
So why
if
are
I'm
you
president of
here?
the United States,
So
we'll
why are
give
you
fair
here?
consideration any pardon request. But if I may,
Vivek's gonna
it's
ruin
not
your
about looking
political
back
career, bro.
at
Just
January
leave.
2021. It's about January 20th, 2017. I put my left hand on Ronald Reagan's Bible. I raised my right hand. And I took an
Nobody
oath
cares what you did.
to support and defend the Constitution of the
You
United
haven't.
States.
You haven't.
And it ended with a prayer, so help me God. It was a promise that I made to the American people, but I also made it.
Pence.
It made it to my Heavenly Father.
Pence, you're not
Every
talking
day for 4
anything.
years, I sought to keep that oath. And everyone on this stage
We
needs
know
to make it
you're
clear whether or
religious.
not
We
they'll
know
do the
that.
same.
It's not what the
if they earn this
conversation, the
job
topic
and the
is
confidence
about
of the
right now.
American people.
God,
Now, look, I've made it
Lee,
clear.
bro, what
I
are you
had
doing?
hoped that the issues surrounding the 2020 election and the controversies around January 6th had not come to this.
Okay,
had not come
timer's
to
up.
criminal
Shut up, buddy.
proceedings.
Thanks.
I would rather they had been resolved by the
Or
American
keep
people.
going. It's all good, bro.
and
Bill's
the
not there
American
for
people
anyone.
alone.
Just for
But no
fun.
one's above the law, and President Trump is entitled to the presumption of innocence that every American is entitled to, and we will make sure and extend
you
that
get locked
to
up
him.
too, 'cause you
But
were
the
with
American
him.
people
Why are you
deserve
trying
to
to-
know that the president
If anyone needs
asked
to be
me
locked up, it's you, Mike.
in
You.
his request that I reject or return votes unilaterally, power that no vice president in American history had ever exercised or taken. He asked me to put him over the Constitution. And I chose
No,
the
he didn't.
Constitution, and I always will. I had no
Vice
right to
President Pence.
overturn the election, and Kamala Harris will have no right to overturn the election when we beat them in 2024.
Thank you, Vice
You're not
President
beating
Pence.
nobody.
Now we are moving on to
The
other
lady on
issues.
stage has more chance of winning.
The
than
U.S.
you.
has committed nearly $77 billion in aid to the Ukraine war. The administration is now asking Congress for $24
Vivek, this is
billion
you.
more.
This is you.
Regardless of
Vivek,
that
show 'em.
specifics
Show 'em,
of
Vivek.
that plan, is there anyone on stage who would not support the increase of more funding?
They
to
don't raise their
Ukraine?
hand. They're done.
We would
Thank you, Vivek. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Ramaswamy, but you're saying you would not too, Governor DeSantis?
I will have Europe pull their weight.
But you
Right
would-
now, they're not doing
you
that.
would not
and
support
I think
more
we need
funding?
to do, and I think our support should be contingent on them doing it. And I would have support in China to be able to take China and do what we need to do with China.
Mr. Ramaswamy, you would not support an increase of funding to Ukraine?
I would not. And I think that this is disastrous.
Yes. Thank you.
Against an invasion
Thank you.
across somebody else's border when we should use those same military resources
Why is that
to
so
prevent
hard to
across
say?
the invasion of our own southern border here in the United States of America. We are driving Russia further into China's hands. The Russia-China alliance is the single greatest threat we face. And I find it offensive that we have professional politicians on the stage that will make a pilgrimage to Kyiv, to their Pope, Zelensky, without doing the same thing for people in Maui or the south side of
Thank
Chicago
you.
or
Thank you.
Kensington. I think that we have to put the interests of Americans first. Secure our own border instead of somebody else's. And the reality is, this is also how we project strength by making America strong at home.
We heard the names. Governor Christie first.
All right, look, I did go to Ukraine, and I went to Ukraine because I wanted to see for myself what Vladimir Putin's army was doing to the free Ukrainian people. And let me tell you, I want you all to look around this arena tonight and imagine that every one of these seats was filled. And if every one of them was filled, there would still be 2,500 more children outside to make over 20,000 who have been abducted, stolen, ripped from their mothers and fathers, and brought back to Russia to be programmed to fight
They're
their
not
own
even
families.
in NATO, bro. They're
They
not
have
in
gouged
NATO.
out people's
Maybe they should
eyes,
join NATO
cut
and they
off
wouldn't be in
their
this
ears,
situation.
and shot people in the back of the head, men, and then gone into those homes and raped the daughters and the wives who were left as widows and orphans.
It's not our country, bro.
This is
Worry about
the
your
Vladimir
homes.
Putin. This is the Vladimir
You haven't
Putin
said anything that you're going to do
who
to improve
Donald
our
Trump
country.
called brilliant and a genius. If we don't stand up against
He
this
is.
type of
He
autocratic
clearly is a genius. He's
killing,
playing you
we
guys
in the
dirty.
Washington, we will be next.
He's playing y'all like you guys are idiots.
Hit the brakes.
I have a question for Governor Haley. We'll come back.
Vice President Pence was mentioned. You get 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, let me be clear. Anybody that thinks that we can't solve the problems here in the United States and be the leader of the free world has a pretty small view of the greatest nation on earth.
That is incorrect.
We can do both, Vivek. We've done both. We've been the leader of the free
Pence is
world and the
done.
arsenal of
I'm done with
democracy
him.
for years. The
I'm
Reagan
done.
Doctrine years ago made it clear. We said, if you're willing to fight the communists on your
We're done listening to him. He's not interesting. He's not anything good. He doesn't say anything factual. He just stands there and says the same thing he has been since he's started running in 2016.
And frankly, our men and women of our armed forces are going to have to go and fight him. I want to let the Ukrainians fight and drive Putin and the Russians back out into Russia.
I want to just
So our
briefly
troops
address
are going to have
Pence.
to make that
Vice
fight.
President Pence. I have a newsflash. The USSR does not exist anymore. It fell back in 1990.
Thank you.
The real threat.
Thank
you talked
you.
about the communists, and the real communists that we have to address
Do you
right
not
now
have any
is the
idea what
I let
Vladimir Putin's aims
you
are?
already spoke. Now I actually have something to say.
Vladimir Putin has been saying he wants to reestablish the old Soviet sphere
You've made
of
your point,
influence.
Vice President.
Now, if you think, I'm sorry if I insulted
Bro,
him by
you
calling
missed
him
it,
a
bro. You
communist.
missed it.
He is a
Dude, I'm
dictator
sorry.
and a murderer.
Freaking Vivek. Oh shit. Vivek. They brought up something, bro, and he was like, I forgot what he said. Oh, he said, "I'm not like all you people. I could say this because I'm not bought out or something." And he went off, and everyone got pissed. They all got
Dude,
pissed.
Ramaswamy goes fucking off. Dude, I love that guy.
Mr. Vice President, we can't hear.
Pence has been throwing. The other guy that I was telling you was cool. Don't like him no more. Fat boy over there does not have a chance in fuck. He was getting booed out of the fucking stadium.
Yeah, Chris Christie's an idiot.
The lady won't even. She's over here talking about fucking abortion like it's an option or some shit. She's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll ban it, but I can't stop them. Like what?
When we hear this bell,
Yeah, this sucks.
that means your time's done. So, Mr. Vice
Oh
President,
man, these
appreciate the
moderators are
aggressiveness
like,
here.
shut the fuck
30
up.
seconds is 30 seconds. Mr. Ramaswamy, you
It's
were
because
mentioned.
Pence
You
keeps
get 30
hopping in on
seconds.
everything,
The
bro.
reality is that today
Pence is an idiot.
Ukraine is not a
He's
priority
getting
for
What is
the United
happening?
States of America.
Why?
And I think that the same people who
Because he's
took us into
calling
the
out
Iraq
Pence,
War,
and everyone's
the
on
same people
Pence's
who took
dick
us into the
today.
Vietnam War, you cannot end it. You cannot start another no-win war. And I do not want to get
Pence
to the
wants
point
to
where
keep
we have
everyone in
military
Ukraine.
resources abroad when we
Yeah,
could be
Pence is a
better
fucking
using
idiot.
secured
That's
homes
why.
to
DeSantis
protect our
and
own borders, protect the
Ramaswamy are the
homeland.
only ones
That
that
will be my
want to
top
take
priority
him
for
out.
the policy.
Everyone else wants to keep him in.
Then the 30 seconds in the rebut. So I do want to get to some other people because everybody, we respect
These people are
everybody's
all
time here.
fucking donors in the
Governor
crowd.
Haley.
That's what it is,
Exactly.
dude. That's just fucking annoying.
They're
Meaning that
riding
you would
Pence's
support
dick.
More funding for
This
the
lady
Ukraine
is
war.
lost.
You have said of Governor
I fucking hate her.
DeSantis that,
She's an idiot.
You didn't appreciate it when he initially called it a territorial dispute. Why?
It is.
First of all, the American president
all it
needs
is.
to have moral clarity. They need to know the difference between right and wrong. They need to know the difference between good and evil.
They need to
When
know
we
the
look at
difference. What is
situation
our
with
business
Russia
and what
Ukraine,
isn't?
Here you have a pro-American country that was
They don't want to be in
invaded
NATO.
by a
That's
thug.
their problem.
So when you
If they were
want
in
to talk
NATO, they
about
wouldn't be
what
going
has
through
been
this
given
shit.
to Ukraine, less than 3.5% of our defense budget has been given to Ukraine. If you look at the percentages per GDP, 11 of the European countries have given more than the U.S. But what's really important is go back to when China and Russia held hands, shook hands before the Olympics, and named themselves unlimited partners. A win for Russia is a win for China. We have to know that. Ukraine is the first line of defense for us. And the problem that Vivek doesn't understand is he wants to hand Ukraine to Russia. He wants to let China eat Taiwan.
It's
He
not
wants to
that
go
big
and
of a
stop funding
country
Israel.
No,
to
You
it
shouldn't
matters.
do that to friends.
This is what she did in
She had
the
the backs of your
in the
friends.
thing
Ukraine
before
is the
too
front
in
line
the
of
summit.
defense. Putin has said.
This is
He's
what
a
we're.
fucking
This
idiot.
is what
He just
it's
focuses
like.
on China.
It's like America
Ukraine,
just
Poland,
taking
and the
Mexico
Baltic
City.
Internet.
That's it.
That's a
Not even
world
Mexico,
war.
just
We're
Mexico
trying
City.
To prevent war. Look at what Putin
That's all.
did.
It's
not big,
crazy.
bro. It doesn't matter.
When I was at the UN, the Russian ambassador suddenly died. This guy is a murderer, and you are choosing a murderer over a pro-American country.
Oh my god.
If he was pro-American, they'd be in NATO.
Yeah, they did not want to be a part of it.
They don't want to be affiliated with us.
Future career on the boards of Lockheed and Raytheon.
I'm not on
but the fact of the matter,
and you know,
Boeing came off of it, but you've been pushing this
She has a
lie.
witch nose,
You've been
too.
pushing this lie all
Yeah.
week, Nikki.
Look at her wearing blue. Stupid.
Okay, let me address that. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to address each of those right now.
Oh, he's about to go off. He's about to go off. He's about to go off.
She's so fucking. How are you gonna compare Taiwan to Ukraine?
And you know what? There's foreign policy experience.
You know what shows
Taiwan-
is her bitch. Why are people cheering for her?
Because they're all a bunch of idiots, dude. They're all donors. He doesn't take their money.
We'll never be stronger than by the end of my first term. But it's not a client relationship. It is a friendship. And you know what friends do? Friends help each other stand on their own 2 feet. So I will lead Abraham Accords 2.0. I will partner with Israel to make sure Iran never is nuclear armed. But you know what I love about Israel? And I've been there probably in the last 10 years more than most people on this stage. You know what I love about them? I love their border policies. I love their tough Iran policies. I love that they have a national identity and an iron dome to protect their homeland. And so, yes, I want to learn from the friends that we're supporting. And what puzzles me is, I want to learn from those and apply those to our homeland, Nikki. That is the answer.
Fucking idiot.
What is she on?
Okay, Governor DeSantis, you were mentioned in the territorial dispute. Not
And
only,
Vivek was the only one that raised his hand to pardon Trump, by the way, out of all these people.
Your first obligation is to
They all
defend
said
That's
the
wild.
country and its people. And that means
They all of them, except for Vivek.
Vivek and DeSantis was on the edge, but all of the rest.
What do they need to be? What do they need to be locked up for? What does he need to be locked up for? What did he do?
Fat Boy, he was saying that he's not going to pardon him, and then Vivek goes, "You're just mad that he disowned you from his campaign or some shit like that."
Yeah, Chris Christie's a fucking pussy.
I'm not even using his name; it's just Fat Boy now.
Yeah.
across the border. That's going to
See, I kind of like this about Ron DeSantis.
and we're going to leave them stone cold dead.
We're actually going to move on to China. We're going to talk about China.
He said he was going to pull all the Ukraine troops and put them on the U.S. border. I like
the biggest
that.
army in the world. Now they have warships off the coast of Alaska. They are threatening Taiwan. In coming years, China will have 1,500 nuclear warheads, it's believed. The U.S. just arrested 2 sailors
The two on
accused
the
of
right
spying
and the
for
two on the
China
left need to go.
within our military. So the question is,
The lady
how
in the
would
blue,
you
she's like,
deter
she knows
China
what she's talking
as a
about, but I feel like she's
president?
just been saying that for the past 15 years.
This is the #1 issue we're facing.
She's a
and of course,
fucking
we haven't
idiot
been
is what
talking
she
about it, and
is.
We act like that letting Russia win in the Ukraine
Pisses me off.
is like a gimme as opposed to a gift to China. Russia has
It's not a
become
gift to
China's
China.
gas station. But how would we do it? The Biden administration is a complete fail. China imports 10 million
All this guy's
barrels
talked
of
about
oil
is
a
China.
day,
When
more
he
than
when
any
they
other
brought up
country in the
abortion, he was
world.
like,
They do
"We
not
need to
even
be
have
talking
all
about
the
China."
food they need to feed everybody in that
I was like,
country. So
"What?"
they
Oh,
don't have
that's
energy security or
fucking
food security.
stupid. Like,
But
they'll
the
get
Biden
to it,
administration
dude.
sends Blinken, Yellen over there. They're over there. They don't even bring up energy because they're too busy trying to kill the U.S. energy here. And what we need to do is not meetings, not press releases, because something that would send a lot more than a press release is actually Harpoon missiles. We need anti-ship
Harpoon
missiles on
missiles is
Taiwan.
crazy.
The way that you have a war never start, which is the goal, the way you have peace through strength.
It's
is
like
that you
these people
actually
want
have
us to
strength.
nuke
You
Russia,
actually
like,
have
that's a
deterrence.
better idea.
And what we have in
That's basically what he's
going on
saying.
in Ukraine is an example of when deterrence fail. What is an example there of Biden's disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, the fact that he greenlighted Putin moving into Ukraine, and then now they see weakness, and when they see weakness, they make a move. And we have to be strong, and we have to be strong both in Ukraine, and we can solve the southern border. Absolutely.
For
we can
why?
do that. Because guess what? There's only 19,855 authorized people for the Border Patrol, but they're not all staff because the Biden administration doesn't enforce law enforcement.
He's
the
all
Biden
over the
administration
place.
wanted to put
He's an idiot.
87,000 people in the IRS as opposed to giving the money and the support we need to our own Border Patrol.
Okay. Senator Scott on China. That same
No, dude. See, what I like about Ramaswamy, he wants to fucking gut the IRS and gut CIA, all that.
Arizona about 2 weeks ago. The most pressing need of the American people from a
This
national
guy's
security
pissed me
standpoint
off today.
is our southern border. It
She's
has led
fucking
to the
annoying,
death of
right?
How do we go from China to the southern border?
Americans because
That's
of
what I'm
fentanyl.
saying. We're not even talking
Plus,
about the southern border.
6
They're
million
talking
illegal
about fucking
crossings
Ukraine.
since President Biden has taken office, and 200 people on our national security watch list have been caught at our border. How many have not been caught at our southern border?
What it is, it's like motherfuckers like this. They practice like these lines, right? That they were expecting to come up,
We could have the
and so they
bring
always
something
kind of
random up and
fucking.
they're like, oh, the border.
to stop
fuck?
the flow of
Yeah,
fentanyl
exactly.
and save 70,000 Americans a year. That should be the priority of this government. And as the next president of the United States, I will make that border wall
He's not
complete.
There are many more questions on China. I do want to ask.
These people saying when I'm president, they're not going to
It's
be
not just the
president.
70,000 from fentanyl. We've lost 200,000 people to overdoses since Biden took office. That's 300 people a day. We're taking mass casualties, and that's a statistic, but these are sons and daughters, nieces and nephews that we're losing. We've got North Dakota troops down there flying night helicopter missions from San Diego to the Gulf Coast, trying to stop these transnational criminal organizations. They've got better funding on their side than we've got on our side.
Speaking of which, Governor Hutchinson, images from earlier.
Let the moderators talk.
Hutchinson,
With Mexico,
Vice President Pence,
policy.
images
a
from
bitch.
earlier this month.
We secured the southern
Vice
border.
Let the
President Pence,
moderators
it really
talk,
doesn't
you
help. I'm asking
fucking
a question.
idiot.
Earlier this
Ah,
Voldemort.
images
I know, it's
showed
fucking
suspected
ugly.
cartel members crossing into Texas with rifles. Do you consider this?
Okay, they could
an
just be
invasion?
Mexicans with guns. I don't know why
Would
they have
you
to put
authorize
cartel in there.
lethal force
I don't know.
along
That's a little extreme.
There would be lethal force.
No cartel
used
member looks
by
like that.
the Border Patrol, law enforcement as needed to protect the border.
I
Absolutely.
hate this guy
When you
too.
look at the military,
This is
the
new.
military
He's
has
so
to be
boring.
used for intelligence gathering purposes.
Say something
This is not
mean. Do
unusual.
something.
Whenever I was
Call
in
the
the
chick
Bush
across stage ugly.
administration,
Do something,
we
please.
went down there and met with President Vicente Fox of Mexico and asked his help on going after the cartels. And he looked at me and said, they're a problem to us as well. And
Kristen,
so
I don't
we
know why they're
joined
all 1,000 years
together,
old. That's why I'm
and we
voting
took
for Vivek
down
Ramaswamy.
The Ariana Felix brothers leading the Tijuana cartel. And that made
They're
a
on
difference.
one, like they're
Ramon
all
was shot and
talking about the
killed,
most
and
random
Ben Amin
things.
was
The
captured.
topic was about China, and they're still
Cooperation
talking
makes
about
a
the
difference.
border.
We cannot be successful going against the
No,
cartel.
they just changed the topic though. I
Bring in
think.
Mexico as a partner. We have to
Yeah,
use
DeSantis
economic
is running.
pressure
He's
to
up there on
accomplish
stage
that.
now.
President Obrador has not been helpful, and we have to use economic pressure that this administration is not using. The rule of law has to matter on both sides of it.
Okay.
This is critical.
Shut up.
I've done it. We know what
I think
needs
the only
to be
reason I like
done.
Ramaswamy is
The
because he's younger. He
military
knows what
has
we
to be
need.
Limited in its
Because it's
use.
Well,
a
he's
new
not just
generation.
younger.
All these
wants to do all this good
politicians
stuff.
that
We
are
had
up
the
there,
global war on terror.
their
And guess
generation's
what?
gonna die
We
soon.
protected
And
the
that's not
border
like
at the
jokes.
same
It's
time.
true.
You can do both.
Okay.
Like this old man right here. He's fine.
So,
He
as
wants to like
president,
fully
would
allow
you support
trans children.
Sending U.S. Special Forces
That
over
old
the
man?
border into Mexico
He
to
wants
take
kids to be
out
able to transition?
fentanyl labs, to take out
Yeah.
drug cartel operations.
fuck
Would
that
you
guy.
support that kind of American military use?
Yes, and I will do it on day one. Here's the thing. The cartels are killing tens of thousands of our fellow citizens. You want to talk about a
You
country
want to know
in
why?
decline?
Because they're
You have
involved in the
cartels
cartel.
controlling
They don't just
a
go
lot
around
of
killing
part of your
random
southern
people,
border.
bro.
We have to
Educate yourself.
reestablish the rule of law, and we have to defend our people.
I'm
The
gonna run for
of the
president.
United
New Mexico
States
person
has
running for
gotta
president,
use
no one would
all
ever see that
available
one coming.
powers as commander-in-chief to protect our country and to protect the people. So when they're coming across, yes, we're going to use lethal force. Yes, we reserve the right to operate. How many more tens of thousands are we going to let to die? I am sick. I've met angel moms throughout this country. I met a lady in Texas
Angel
named
moms?
Tracy, and her son took one Percocet that was laced with fentanyl, immediately died. That is happening all across this country because of the poison that they are bringing in. So as president,
Or
would
just
I
'cause
use force?
people
Would I treat
normalize
them as
drugs
foreign
now.
terrorist organizations?
Yeah, but why
You're
are these
darn
people
right I
doing
would.
drugs? Because of
And
mental
why?
health, dog. Like
What does that
That's
have to
a
do with
big
the
part of
cartel?
it.
You can have
Why
laced
would you
drugs
be better
without the
at
cartel.
this issue than Governor DeSantis? Governor DeSantis on the campaign trail refers to your
How about y'all just get out of the
administration
cartel's
as not
business
finishing
and
the
let them
wall.
do their thing in Mexico? Like, we have no problem with that.
It's
We
because they
secured
run
the
it
southern
through
border of the
fucking
United States
the
of
U.S.
America and reduced illegal
That's why we
immigration
built
and
that's why
asylum
we need the
abuse
border
by
patrol.
90%.
Other than that, cartel's going to stay
When
in
Joe
their
Biden
place.
took over, he threw open the southern border of the United States, and the wave of humanity.
The only way they
wave
get
of
back in
fentanyl
is if
that's been eloquently
one of
described
these
here
people
is-
like
is a
gets
a
bought
wave
out
of
by the
human
cartel.
tragedy across this country. But Martha, you began this
And I think
evening
Mike
talking
Pence would
about
be
who
one
is
to
best
do that.
prepared to be the next
The old
president.
man
Oh, for
would be
sure.
too scared to say no. The fat guy would be
And I
too
have to
scared to
tell you,
say
with
no.
all
The lady would
humility,
be fuck. I think she'd
I was
sleep with
there
him.
when we negotiated.
I don't know. I
Look,
think
Kamala
that she would
Harris.
fucking. I think she'd just bomb Mexico, bro. She's a fucking idiot.
Around the clock.
No,
I
no, no, no.
negotiated the
Bombed.
Remain in
Done.
Mexico policy on behalf of the president of the
She wouldn't
United
even bomb
States,
him,
and
she just
AC,
nuke
you're so
him.
right. It's because we used economic pressure to
And me
bring the
living right on the
Mexicans
border,
to
I'd be
table,
fucked.
And they allowed
There'd be no more
us to
nervy
have
Nate.
people wait in Mexico while they applied for asylum and ended asylum abuse overnight. We got the Mexicans to deploy their National Guard to
The
their southern
Mexicans,
border and to our southern border as never before. And I want to promise you, as President of the United States of America, I will engage
Will you?
Mexico the exact
Yeah.
same way,
Uh-huh.
and we will partner with the
Okay.
Mexican military,
Uh-huh.
and we will hunt down and destroy the cartels that are claiming lives in the
not
United
how that
States
works.
of
Okay,
America.
thank you. Another
What an
issue
idiot.
that is related to this is
Most
that
cartel
almost
members aren't
7
even on record.
million
Like, they don't have-
migrants
they don't have,
crossed this border.
They don't
our
have
southern
criminal
border during the
records
Biden administration.
because they're never caught. So, it's
Governor
kind of hard to
Christie,
do that, buddy.
what would you do about the
Oh,
7
great. Let's hear
million
Fatty.
who are here? How would you handle them?
Come
What
on,
would
fat
you do?
boy.
Look, Martha, the first thing we need to do is to stop any more from coming. That's the first
Oh,
thing we need
that's
to do.
Oh,
that's
good
not
idea,
the
bud.
The next thing we need
question.
to do with the folks that are here is to, again, as we've talked about all
To stop
night tonight,
crime. We're just gonna,
we
like,
have
stop
to have
crime.
law
Like,
and
what the
order in this
fuck?
country. We
What
have
kind
to
of answer is
enforce
that?
the law. And what that means is to make sure that people who come here illegally are not rewarded for being here illegally. We have so many
Yep.
wonderful people from around
But how are you
going
gonna do it?
who are waiting in line, following the law to try to come
Okay.
here.
Yeah,
and
we
pursue the
understand that.
American
What are you
dream.
gonna do about it?
And those people are waiting and waiting and waiting because we haven't dealt with the problem of the folks who are here. We have to have them detained. We have to make sure that they are not rewarded.
Don't
for
say
having
deported,
broken
though,
the
because I
law.
strongly believe
And
if
one last
a
thing
illegal
on this
family's here
fentanyl
and they're
issue.
working, I think they
With
should
China,
get citizenship.
we can't take our eye off of that ball. Yes, it's important that we secure the border. Very important, as I just said.
Do you
But
agree with that,
China
Lucy, or
is
no?
sending these chemicals to these drug cartels
Huh?
for them to
To an
create the
to an
fentanyl
extent.
that is killing
Like, if it's a
hundreds
productive
of
family and they're
thousands of our
contributing to
citizens.
society,
The
I think they should be
Chinese are
fine.
engaging in an act of war against us, killing our citizens. We better make that priority one.
But I want
in
a
our
clean record on them,
conversations
you know?
with
Like,
China
not even a
and to try to
traffic
straighten
ticket.
that
Like, I want them to
relationship
be-
out, because if we don't,
Yeah,
we'll lose more and
that's
more
what I
of
was
our
gonna
citizens.
say. Is like we would have to just
Would you send those
get
people back?
Mexico to
Of course.
cooperate on.
You'd have to.
Oh
Please come
yeah,
over
this
here,
guy
you
wants
know?
to send
We have
them
a
back.
lot of issues that Americans care about. Next up, we're going to talk about the crisis in education as millions of Americans.
Oh, shit.
It's like
What did
it's
I
like
do?
as you catch them, get background checks from Mexico on them. You know.
I'm just saying, like, people that are already here. Like, if they have...
Yeah, no.
Like, don't... Like, I'm not saying just pull over random Mexicans, you know? I'm just saying, like, if you get caught doing anything, just send them back right away. Even if they're, like, golden fucking child, like, they are just helping, just get them out.
You want to send them back?
Yeah.
Send them all back, no matter what.
If they have any criminal record, yeah, send them back.
Oh. Yeah,
Not
I mean
just
that's
get rid of
true.
all illegals then. Oh, you're Mexican? Bye. No.
Yeah, no, I know a couple of illegal people. They're really nice. They work hard.
What's his name? Stately?
Stately?
He's native though, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Still fat.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Ban all fat people.
No, he's lost a lot of weight actually.
Good for him. And then he could stay.
Yeah. Because his old
It's a
lady doesn't love
divorce.
him anymore.
It's a divorce. A divorce would make me lose weight too.
It sure made me lose weight.
Well, you also got cheated on by a BBC, so I'd lose weight
That's
too.
true. I was like, damn.
You know what I want to see?
You know, I heard
a big,
every.
tall black dude with a chode. That'd be so funny.
You know, it's actually like technically the United States average is like, I think it's 5.6 or something like that.
How am I still under average? I'm just playing. Actually, I don't know. I've never measured, like, but I think it's fine.
And that's taking into account everybody in the United States. I even watched this video on YouTube, or I watched this guy reacting to this video on YouTube, and there was a small, like maybe 5'6" gay dude, and he had the biggest dick in the out of like all these people because they had like a doctor come in.
Video?
Yeah, it was that Jubilee video. Hey, he had like a fucking 8-incher, bro.
I was like, they had that one guy, that one little freaking Filipino dude.
Oh yeah.
With literally less than half a cucumber.
Yeah, I know, that's so
What
sad.
did he have, like,
and the black
2
guy
or
was
3?
like in the middle. So I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess so.
But it's so easy to get like dick lengthening surgery, you know?
I mean, it's expensive as fuck. I think it's like 100,000 for an inch.
I might do it.
Really?
Do pills actually work?
No, the
No?
pills don't work at all. No.
How do you know?
I've had people who've used them, and they said they didn't work.
You sure you didn't use them?
No, I have never used them. I've been too
penis
scared.
pumps work?
I don't want my
I
dick
feel
to
like-
fall off.
I feel like they could. Like if you use them often.
I think penis pumps only work in the sense of keeping yourself harder for longer, maybe.
I feel I'm just
I don't
like
know.
it kind of reminds me of like the Kylie Jenner challenge, like how it can permanently stick to that size. Just because
To the lips?
vessels.
I mean, I guess maybe, but that
Maybe
would
not like mad dramatic change, but you know, like something.
Yeah, but then your wiener'd fall off. I feel like, you know. That's why I never mess with anything like that.
You just mess with butt plugs?
No, that's why I got the surgery to make myself shorter, so then it seemed like it was like a good size for my
You could
height.
just
You know.
work out.
Yeah, but that's a lot of
When you
work
work
too.
out, it makes your penis look bigger.
Yeah, I heard that like every 20 pounds you lose, you gain an inch or something.
Absenteeism, deep
I'm about to lose
declines
7. I'm
for
about to
reading
be
and
20
math for
pounds.
15-year-olds and 13-year-olds.
So I can be
Governor
at 3.
DeSantis, you would eliminate, you said, the Department of Education. But as president, would you still have a responsibility to fix this crisis as we see it?
Absolutely. The decline in education is one of the major reasons why our country is in decline. We need education in this country, not indoctrination in this country. Florida, we stood up for what was right. First, we had schools open during COVID, and a lot of the problems that we've seen are because these lockdown states lock their kids out of school for a year and a half. That was wrong.
Yeah.
We stood up. I took a lot of fire for that. I was
I did
pilloried
do
by
worse
the
in
media,
school
but I
during
stood
COVID.
for our kids. And as president, I'll stand
I think
for you and
everybody
your
did.
kids as well. But we have to
Because you
make
didn't
sure
have to get up. Like you
that
could
what
just
our schools are doing
stay
is
in
Lay in
focusing
bed
on solid
on your laptop.
academics. In Florida, we eliminated critical
I
race
got out of
theory
school
from our
before then,
K-12
but
schools.
Yeah, you're like fucking
We
50. That's
eliminated
why.
gender
fuck you. I'm
ideology
like
from
2
our
years
K-12
older than you.
schools.
In my ass.
We have
How old are you?
elevated the importance
22.
of American civics
Oh,
and teaching
wow,
our
you look
kids about
terrible.
the Constitution. And
Fuck
the
you.
As president, I'm going to lead an effort to increase civic understanding and knowledge of our Constitution. We cannot be graduating students that don't have any foundation in what it means to be an American.
Mr. Ramaswamy, Mr. Ramaswamy.
I want to hear Ramaswamy. Let's go. Let's hear his
Fuck up,
answer.
Pence. You hear
You
Pence in the
said
background?
that
He's
the
an
Department
idiot.
of
He's
Education,
annoying.
the FBI, the ATF, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the IRS,
Mm-hmm.
the Department of Commerce, many of these
Get rid of
should
them.
not exist.
That's
Yep.
correct.
So,
Let's
to the
go.
education question, how would you deal with the crisis?
So look, we have a crisis of achievement. Let's shut down the head of the snake, the Department of Education. Take that
The head
$80
of the snake?
billion, put it in the hands of parents across this country. This is the civil rights issue of our time. Allow any parent to choose where they send their kids to school. end the teachers' unions at the local level to allow public schools to compete, and then
I agree.
national identity where every high school senior should have to pass the same civics test that, frankly, every immigrant, including my mother, had to pass in order to
Hey,
become
yo.
a
I got it.
citizen
I got
of
it.
this country.
I'm down.
And the fact
Okay.
of the matter is, look, there's a part of
I don't know if I
education
would have
policy
passed at
that
that
also
age,
rests
but I
with the
mean,
family. I didn't grow up
I mean, I'm
with
sure if
money.
you took
But you know, the
whatever
word privilege
class
gets
needed
used a
to, you
lot.
would.
Well, you
Yeah.
know what? I
Or
did have the
curriculum.
ultimate privilege of 2 parents in the house
I kinda
with
wanna
the
take the
focus on
immigration test.
educational achievement. And I want
See
every
if I
kid
can
to
pass.
enjoy that. So part of
I'm
the
pretty sure I
problem is
would, but-
we also have a federal government that
We need
pays
to-
single women more not to
Look
have
at
a
you
man in
all
the
doting
house
35.
than to have
Yeah,
a man
it's
in the
insane.
house,
Just do
contributing to an
36.
epidemic of fatherlessness. And I think that goes hand
Yeah.
in glove with the education
Or it's
crisis as
35
well, because we have
max,
to remember
maybe.
education
Oh, no, there's
starts
40.
with the family, and the nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to mankind.
Robert K.
Yep.
with the $40 dono.
Let's go.
Governor Haley has
Louis
said,
B. with the
Governor Haley
100.
has said that biological
Hey, yo.
boys
Ron
playing
W.
in
with the
girls'
100.
sports is the women's issue
crazy.
of our time. You said that
Did
even
you
though
hear
you
him?
signed
Did you hear what
a
he said?
ban
No.
on
About the
guns in
nuclear
North Dakota,
family?
that there hadn't
Oh,
been
yeah,
You were
yeah,
one
focusing on the
where
donors.
it was actually needed. Are you saying
Leave
that
the
you
donors
think that
alone.
too
Focusing
much
on
is made of
Pence's
this
donors,
issue?
my bad.
No, I'm saying in North Dakota, we made a priority of protecting women's sports, and we've done
Get
that.
this guy
in
off
our state.
stage.
But I would absolutely do that. But I do think when we start talking about education and we think that we're going to have a federal government one size fits all, we're just completely losing
He
track
has a
of the
coochie
fact
on his neck.
that
That's
education
crazy.
differs by state. Some school districts are doing a fantastic job, some less so. But the idea that every school district, state, and every teacher is somehow indoctrinating people is just false. You know, when I was building a company from scratch, you know,
That
we
is
had a small town of
insane.
kids, and we went, you know, grew up in a town of 300.
You
but we
don't
built
have
a
kids in
global
school no more,
company
huh?
Bitch,
in 132
you grew up
countries
in
with over
fucking
100,000
1892.
customers. We listened to those
You
customers,
old
we spent
fart.
time with
You
them,
were
we talked
friends
to
with
them. We did that. And
freaking
as
George
governors,
Washington.
well, education is one of the biggest part of a state budget. So
You went
as a
to
Old
school
ass
with
man.
Columbus.
I shadow a student. I don't. The night
You
before,
should
I
shut
find
the
out
hell
the
up
students-
about when he
the
went to
student finds
school.
out I'm going to go to every class with them. I don't sit and lecture school districts how to do it. I go and see the experience. And there's a lot of things that have to change. But what needs to change in education is it's innovation. We're doing it the same way we did it 50 years ago with innovation.
I say we let
not
kids have
regulation.
debates in class.
I would get rid of the Department of Education.
I agree.
I would give block grants to schools, but I'd give them on merit based on who's doing the most innovative. I just got done holding the 7th annual Governor's Conference on Innovation Education. You should see what the people are doing when you cut loose the red tape, get the burden off their back. They care. Teachers in this country, the vast majority of them care about those kids. They're working
Hell
in
no.
paying jobs, and they're fighting for those kids and their
They
families.
told you to shut up twice. That's how uninteresting
Yeah.
you are.
Issue of our time.
First, I'll tell you.
Insane
as,
if he
you know,
doesn't think
as a
that these
parent, the
teachers
one
are
thing you want is for your child
indoctrinating
to
these
have a better
kids.
life than you did. And we can talk about all of these things, and there's a lot of crazy woke things happening in schools, but we've got to get these kids reading. If a child can't read by 3rd grade, they're 4 times less likely to graduate high school.
What do you
So
think
we
these
need to
kids
make
aren't
sure we
reading?
bring
What are
in
you talking
reading
about?
They're just
remediation
sitting
all
there?
over this country. We need transparency in the classroom because parents should never have to wonder what's being said or taught to their children in the classroom.
We're not putting no
Parents
fucking
need to
cameras
be
in classrooms,
deciding
that's for
which
sure.
schools their kids go to because they know best.
Okay.
And let's put
School fight
vocational
videos would be
classes
nicer.
back into the high schools. Let's teach our kids to build things again. When
I agree
we
with
do
that.
and we allow that
Yeah.
innovation, that's when it'll get back. And yes, I will always
I think they
say,
should
I'm
teach
gonna
oil
fight for
changes and all
girls
kinds of car
all
stuff
day
in school,
long
too.
Because
Mhm.
strong girls
They do
become
in a lot of
strong women.
schools.
Strong women become strong leaders.
Schools
and
here, at least.
biological boys
No one
don't
cares
belong in the
about
locker
women, bro.
rooms of any of our girls.
Okay, that's cool.
Let's go.
She saved it. She saved her little spill.
The first question
She saved
is
There
going
we
to
go.
go to you, Vice President. So this is a lightning round of questions, 30-second
don't-
Okay,
answers.
we'll see how this happens.
President Biden will be 82 years old on
Damn.
Inauguration Day. Nearly
Damn.
70% of Americans say that he is too old to serve. Should presidents have to pass a mental and physical test
Hell yes.
in order to serve, Vice
Yep.
President?
Hell
Pence?
yes.
Well, it might be a good idea to have everybody in Washington, D.C. pass.
It's a
them
yes
out.
or no. It's
That
a
was
yes
a
or
good
no.
answer, though, I guess.
Yes or no?
Americans know.
Washington
The
take a
American
mental
people can make
test.
those judgments. But let me say,
Supposed to be a lightning
president
round.
of the United States because
Shut the fuck
we
up,
don't need a
Pence.
president
Yes
who's
or
too
no?
old, and we don't need a president who's too young. We need a
Shut
president.
Wow.
the fuck
We need a
up.
president
Booed.
who knows
Booed.
how
You hear
Congress
that?
works, how the White House works, how states worked, and on this education
Trump wasn't a
issue,
politician, and
Martha,
he was in there and
I
did
was
great,
fighting
and you
against
supported
No
him.
Child
So
Left
what's up with
Behind
that?
when Republicans were doubling the Department of Education. I'll also shut down the Federal Department of Education, and when I was governor, we doubled the size of the largest school choice program in America, and we'll give school choice to every
Mike Pence. Oh my God.
This is a lightning
He is
round,
so
Mr.
annoying.
Ramaswamy. I think you were mentioned there. You're 38. You're the youngest on the stage. You've said,
Yes, sir.
You just said you want a civics
38.
test or public service for those under 25 to be able to vote. So the question is, do you want a mental acuity test for presidents over 75?
I believe in the people of this country to tell the difference between somebody who's an automaton and somebody who's actually a thinking agent in the White House, which we don't have in there today.
Damn.
And I will tell you, I want to address Vice President Pence's comment. I think we do need somebody of a different generation to lead this nation forward.
Yeah.
The way I've run this
Yeah.
campaign, going to the south side of Chicago, to Kensington, in the middle of Philadelphia, where traditional Republican candidates don't go, we have an opportunity to build a multi-ethnic working
Okay,
class
Ramaswamy, that's
majority
enough.
to deliver a landslide. And I think I'm the
We get
only
it.
candidate
Push
in
it,
this race,
Rami,
young or
don't
old,
push
black or
it.
white, to bring all of those voters along to deliver a Reagan 1980 revolution. We're going to do it in 2024.
Same question to you, Governor.
I thought,
Okay.
Kennedy Jr. was running too.
He was.
What happened?
He wasn't big enough to be in these debates.
Listen, we're getting control of the debate. This is a
Yeah, nobody gives a fuck about
Bigger
him.
than the fat dude.
Governor Hutchinson.
I wouldn't say so. The dude can barely talk. What makes you think he can run a debate?
Look at Arkansas. We have to compete with China. I built computer science education. We led the nation in computer science education, going from 1,100 students
What
to
does that have to do with a mental
23,000
test?
students taking it. This is how you compete with China. As president
Huh?
of the United
What?
States,
I think
will
we
make
missed
sure
the
we go
question.
from 51%
I think we
of our
missed a
schools
different
offering
question or
computer
something.
science to every school in rural areas and urban
What
areas
the
offering
fuck is
computer
he talking
science
about?
for the benefit of our kids. And
I
we
don't
can
know.
compete
You were
with
yapping
China
your mouth, so
in
I couldn't
terms
hear
of
what he said. What the
technology.
question was.
The question is,
This is coming to you.
Hold on.
We're trying to do a quick round of different topics here. So, Senator
Oh,
Scott,
different
faith
topic. Okay.
is on decline in this country. You talked about it a little bit before tonight. So, is there a role for a president of the United States in changing that? What would you do to change that?
Well, our nation was founded upon the Judeo-Christian values that
Doesn't
have
need
made
to
us
be
the
changed.
greatest nation on God's green earth. I'm a big believer in Ephesians 3:20 that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or imagine. Our responsibility should be to model the behavior we want others to follow. On education, the only way we change education in this nation is to break the backs of the teachers' unions.
Hey,
They are
hey, yo!
in the doorhouse
What do
of
you
our
mean
kids,
by that?
break the
locking
teacher's
them
back.
into
Yeah.
failing schools and locking them out of the greatest future they could have.
As President Governor
The-
DeSantis, would you support some mandatory
He's a horn
military
dog, huh?
service for all Americans?
I think it should be voluntary. I'm somebody that volunteered to serve, inspired by September 11th, and I deployed to Iraq alongside U.S. Navy SEALs in places like Fallujah, Ramadi, and it's something that I think has
Yeah, you
taught
held their
me.
cocks.
You know,
You
when
didn't
you
do
go
anything.
in that type of environment, anything you have, your personal agenda, you check it at the door. You go there, and it's about focusing on the mission above all else. And guys come together and they get it done. And that's how I would view
That's a very
being the
sexist
president of
statement.
the United States. It's not about me.
How
it's
dare
not
you.
about all these other side issues. My sole focus
I'd love
will
to
be
see a
on
woman
your future
Navy
and
SEAL, though.
reversing this country's
That'd be
decline.
dope.
Okay, now for something
Very sick.
a little
Ronda
out of
Rousey
this
could do it.
world, and this is for you, Governor Christie. Do you
Facts.
believe that the recent spike in UFO encounters
Oh my God.
Hell yeah.
UFO question?
Yeah, you do.
Come on,
There
man.
you go. No, but okay, we've been hearing a lot of testimony in Congress, and people are taking this a lot more seriously. And we're hearing that, you know, there are things going on that people aren't aware of. So, if you were president, Governor Christie, would you level with the American people about what the government knows about these possible
Look,
encounters?
Martha, and especially coming from a woman from New Jersey, I think it's horrible that just because I'm from New Jersey, you asked me about unidentified flying objects and Martians.
That's not that
We're
crazy, though.
different,
New
but we're
Mexico
not
would
that
get way
different.
more questions like that.
Look,
Yeah.
of course, the job of the President of the United States is to level with the American people about everything. The job of the President of the United States is to stand for truth. The job of the President of the United States is to be a role model for our children and our grandchildren. And so whether it was UFOs or the
claps.
problem of education, and Tim's right, by the way, and I started this in 2010 by going right after the teachers' unions in New Jersey.
fuck the
and
bell,
drilling
huh?
down
Just
to
there
an
for fun?
all-time low popularity rating
Yeah.
because they're
None
putting
of them
themselves
care about the
before our
bell.
kids.
I feel like they
is the
that's
biggest
their
threat
like
to our
alarm,
country,
so they're
not
immune to
UFOs.
it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, coming up, we've got closing arguments. Plus, right after the debate, Hannity is live from the spin room right here in the Fiserv Forum with reaction from all the candidates.
All right,
As soon as
look,
they step off the
I
stage,
don't-
We'll be back after this.
I don't agree that having religion is like such a big deal. Like I understand that the values that, Judeo-Christians hold or whatever, the most of them are fine. The values are great. I have a lot of those values, but it's not because I'm religious or anything, I don't think you have to be
it's
religious
normal.
to know right from wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And I hate that the Republican Party just pushes on religion so hard. And it's like, it's fine because they're trying to get the vote, right, from the religious people. But
They'd get it no matter what, though. Because most religious people are conservatives.
Yeah, that's true. But there are some Democrats that try to push for the religious vote, and it's stupid. But like, I don't.
So here's
think
the thing
you need
about
religion.
it: most Democrats are Catholic. Most conservatives are Christian. Catholics, well, not all, but most Catholics don't really care about the values. They're there for, I believe in God, it's church, that's what I was raised to do. So they don't care about abortion, they don't care about transgenders, they don't care about LGBTQ plus A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They don't care about that. They're okay with it. Conservative Christians, they live by the Christian values. Like they live by like they don't tolerate the LGBTQ. They don't tolerate all like the beliefs. Like if you go against any of the beliefs, they're not going to tolerate it. Catholics will just kind of be pushed over.
Yeah. Yeah,
And the only reason I
think
know
it's
the difference is because
good
I'm a Christian
values.
and my dad's a Catholic. So when I go to my dad's, they all go to church on Sundays, but then they go home and party that night. Christians go to church on Sundays, go eat lunch with their friends on Sundays, and then they go home, read their Bible, pray, eat dinner, and go to bed.
Yeah, that's yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of the Christian values, whatnot. I agree with all that, and my point is, you just don't have to be religious to hold these values, and I think that's what a lot of these Republicans are missing out on, is the vote of the younger people, because a lot of younger people are less and less believing in God.
Yep.
Right. So it's like you're missing out on the younger vote, but.
If I was running for president, I'd just say I was pro-abortion, pro-life, pro-LGBTQ, anti-LGBTQ. I would just get every vote, to be honest. I love you for you. You're great.
Unless you're trans, then you're wrong.
Did I tell you what happened on my birthday this year?
No, did you have a trans burst in or what?
So my best friend was trans.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. But let me finish telling you. So we went to a hotel for my birthday and we got drunk. And my cheating girlfriend, who was pregnant at the time from cheating, was there. And you're not supposed to drink when you're mentally not there, bro. Like I did. And I went off. And I saw him leaving with my ex because he was going to give her a ride home. So I decked him in the back of the head. And then everyone started going buck wild, bro. Everybody. And then my mom had to come pick me up. I was crying. I was like, I just lost my best friend. I lost everyone. Da 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 da. It was a crazy night, bro. Crazy.
That's insane. I think it's. I don't. Is it like a him her or is it like a her him?
It was a her to him.
Okay, well, she probably just wanted him. I mean, she probably just wanted your girlfriend, honestly.
I honestly don't care at this point anymore.
I don't know. So yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I'm sorry to hear that.
It was a
On
night
the
for sure. On my birthday, so I have decided I'm never celebrating my birthday again.
dude,
Now,
we
the
both
thing
got
is-
fucked on our
is it
birthdays.
it sucks that like we have to like go through like every birthday we have now. We're gonna be reminded of those things.
Yeah. That's insane. That's so funny because I had found out that my ex-wife was cheating on my birthday. That is insane.
Yeah, it's...
A live look at the
And we have to get
Reagan
reminded
Library as
every
the sun
freaking
sets in Simi Valley.
Every year.
We will see there next
So
month when our colleagues at Fox
next
Business
year I'm gonna
host
tell my
the
dad do
next
not have a
2024
party for me. If we
Fox
have a
Business
party,
is
that's fine.
partnering
But do
with
not sing happy
Univision,
birthday.
the
Don't
Reagan
have anyone tell me
Foundation,
happy birthday. I'm
and
leaving.
Rumble to bring you the second Republican presidential debate on September 27th. It looks pretty nice.
September
there.
27th.
20 years ago,
That does look
70%
nice.
Wow.
of
That looks
American
dope.
adults said they were extremely proud to be an American.
Only
That number has
27?
now plummeted to just 39%.
Oh.
In his pitch to get to the Oval Office, President Reagan called America the shining city on a hill, a beacon of hope and optimism.
So in your closing statement tonight, please tell American voters why you are the person who can inspire this nation to a better
Rami
day.
got
These
this
are
one.
45 seconds, and we begin with Governor Burgum.
We'll see.
Cool. Good talk.
I understand why
Bergman.
America's hurting.
No, you
Biden's
don't.
inflation is choking us.
Oh, well,
I grew
yeah.
up in a small town. My dad died when I was freshman in high school.
That's
My
cute.
mom, widow of 3, went back to work. Every job I had growing up was one where I took a shower at the end of the day, not at the beginning of the day.
What the fuck? Okay.
Our cities are less safe because of the
Is
fentanyl
that not
pouring into this
normal?
country.
I know,
Our
right?
economy
That's
is
weird.
being crushed by Biden's energy policies, which are raising the cost of every product you buy, not just the gasoline at the pump. One thing that I'll do as president, I'll secure the border. I'll get this economy sprinting, not crawling like it is right now. And I would say that other thing is for sure, when I'm on a horseback in the Badlands of North Dakota, it looks like the horizon is just limitless. And when you can almost see beyond that horizon, you can see that
What
this
is
great
he talking
country, our
about?
future
Fuck the
is
bell.
unlimited.
Fuck it, huh?
But we've
Fuck
got to
that
focus on
stupid bell,
innovation,
huh?
not regulation.
I don't
We've
think
gotta
any of
cut
them
the
are
red
gonna
If I
tape.
care
ever
about
run
We
for
the
gotta
bell.
president, I'm not ever
for
gonna.
the
I'm
way
not
we
even
win
gonna
the
pay
Cold War
attention to
with
the
China is by
commentators. I'm
growing
just
our
gonna keep
economy
going.
through innovation.
Two
And
bells.
As president, I will bring out the best of America. I will improve every American
Come on,
life.
Biden.
Governor
Well, we hope you're
Hutchinson.
back on your horse soon, Governor.
With your little ACL
Governor
tear.
Hutchinson.
Our nation is in trouble.
God.
And it's in trouble
If you're
because
president,
of
we're in
failed
trouble.
leadership. And the solution is not 4 more years of Joseph Biden. The
Joseph,
solution is
damn.
not 4 more years of Donald Trump. The solution is new leadership
By
that can
Vivek
bring
Ramaswamy.
bold ideas
Yeah.
to America and to bring out the best of America. A president's #1 responsibility is to bring out the best of our people. That's what Ronald Reagan did. And he did it with optimism and hope for our country, with a consistent conservatism. That's exactly what I bring. As president, I'll bring out the best of America.
Oh, man, that'll make me fall asleep.
Responsibility,
Always.
building
I've never
our
been
economy,
interested in this
in
guy's
terms of
talks.
securing our border, enforcing
Every
the
time he
rule
comes
of
on here, I
law.
look at my phone.
I'll bring out the best of America in terms of our
No,
national
you're yawning, bro. I'm
character, our
tired.
faith, and our hope for the future. Join in this fight. ACE2024.com.
Thank you.
That Ace of 2024 cut off the children's genitals.com.
I was a disillusioned young man growing up in a single-parent household mired in poverty. I wondered if the American dream was real for a kid like me. I can stand before you today and say the dream is alive, it is well, and it is healthy. I have the good fortune of a mom who works 16-hour days, making sure we have food on our tables. She taught me that if you're
I don't believe
able-bodied in
that, but
America,
damn.
you work. If you take out a
Yeah,
loan,
that's insane.
you pay it back. If you commit
10
a
maybe.
violent
That was
crime,
16
you
hours.
go to jail. And if God made you a man, you play sports against men.
Okay. Yep.
Tim Scott,
Definitely.
I'm asking you for your vote, and if you're in Iowa, I'm asking you to caucus for me. You can go to votetimscott.com.
He's asking for a
more
cock. Give
information
him your
or
cock.
to make a contribution.
Give him your cock,
Give me your
please.
cock now for the president. I'd use that line
Brad.
if I was
Thank you,
running.
Martha.
Give me your
Look,
cock.
I hope-
vote
Everybody
for
on
me.
the stage wants to be the next president.
I bet you
of the
they're
United
ending on
States.
Ramaswamy because
And
he's
the
going to
only
be the
way that's gonna
strongest.
happen is if we beat Joe Biden.
I think they're
I'm the only
on
one on this
DeSantis
stage who's
or
ever beaten
Yeah.
a Democratic incumbent in an election.
No, I think they'll end on
the deep blue state
Ramaswamy or
being
Santos.
outspent 3-1. beating a Democratic incumbent is not easy. The last
Fatty.
Democratic incumbent
You're fat.
president who was
Go to the
defeated
gym,
was
fatty.
Jimmy Carter.
Your
And he
gym's
was
bigger than your
defeated
wife's
by a
tits.
conservative
Go to the gym.
governor
You're
from
fat.
a blue state who knew how to get results, who stood for the truth, who cared about accountability.
You can't even breathe.
And stood
Chris
strong
Christie,
and
you're a
hard against
fucking
race.
sellout, bro.
Those are
What
the
are you
very
talking
things that I
about?
did
Like,
in my
he's bad.
years as governor of New Jersey, and it's exactly what I'll do
Turn around, let me see
as
your dump
president of
truck.
the United States. Believe me, the Democrats want
There's your bell. Shut
some
up.
other
Thanks.
nominee who's never beaten a Democratic incumbent. I'm the one who can win this race.
What words
If
are
you
you
give me
No,
the
you're
chance,
not.
Incumbent?
I will restore our country
What
by
does that even
winning.
mean?
Thank you.
No, you won't.
Several weeks ago,
Ah,
I
you
dropped
didn't
my
get to
husband
end.
Michael, a combat veteran from Afghanistan, off at 4 a.m. for another year-long deployment.
I'd
I
be
watched
so happy
him
if I
and
was him.
230 soldiers pick up their 2 duffel bags of belongings to go to a country they had never been, all in the
So he's not a real
name
hero.
of protecting America. If they are
Mhm.
willing to protect us from there, we should
I'd be so
willing
happy
to
if I was
fight
her
for
husband and I got
America
to
here.
leave. Oh my
I will
god.
beat Joe Biden, and he knows
I'd
that.
be like, yes,
I will
send me to
strengthen our economy
Iraq,
and
send
we'll
me to
bring this
Russia, send me
inflation down.
somewhere.
We will put transparency
Please
in
give me
the
I
away
elections.
from
cannot
this
live
We will
with this
secure
chick.
our
If
borders.
I was,
We will have
I'd be
the
with her for
backs
the
of our
money, and
law
that's it.
enforcement, and we will make sure we have a strong national security.
Because you know she's sucking dick
and
for
once
money.
again, we
She
will
has
make sure we
loaded
have an America
inside
that is
and in the
strong
bank.
and proud. We have
I don't
a
know. Those
country to
lips are
save.
too small.
Join us. Go to
I don't think anybody would have won her to.
That coochie might be fine though.
Probably. Gucci just as small. Oh, Pence. Told you they're gonna end on DeSantis or Ramaswamy.
Please let it end on Ramaswamy, please.
Joe Biden has weakened America at home and abroad.
Mm-hmm.
The disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, their war on energy.
Why is he okay
runaway
with pulling people out of
spending that launched
Iraq
the
but
worst
not
inflation
Ukraine?
in 40 years, a crisis at our southern
He's a
border,
fucking
assault on
idiot.
our values and liberties, and the American people have had enough.
Excuse me.
But I know we can bring it back. But different times
Uh-huh.
call for different leadership.
Yep.
The Republican Party owes the American people a choice.
Yep.
Proven leadership at the
Yeah,
national level
but
that
you
knows
can't
how to
do
move a
that.
conservative agenda forward. We proved in the Trump-Pence years you can turn this country around faster than you can imagine. And I have faith we will again.
But you didn't do
Because
anything.
I have faith in the American people.
What
Good,
the fuck is he
decent,
on about?
hardworking, faith-filled, idealistic people of this country, and I have faith.
You hear how they
that
speed up
God
their
is not
talking when
done
they hit
with
the bell?
America yet.
Mhm.
And if we will renew our faith in one another and renew our faith in
In God.
Him, who
Yep,
has
knew it.
ever guided this nation since we arrived on these wilderness shores, I know the best days for the
Two.
greatest nation on earth are yet to come.
Thank you. Mr. Ramaswamy.
Fuck.
I was born
Ah.
in 1985, and I grew up into a generation
Mm-hmm.
where we were taught to celebrate our diversity and our differences
Mm-hmm.
so much that we forgot all of the ways we are really just the same as Americans, bound by a common set of ideals that set this nation into motion in 1776. And this is our moment to revive those common ideals. God is real. There are 2 genders. Fossil fuels are a requirement for human
Okay.
prosperity. Reverse
Yep.
racism is racism.
Oh.
An open border
Yep.
is not a border.
Oh.
Parents
Yep.
determine the education of their children. The nuclear
Yep.
family is
Oh.
the greatest form of governance known to man.
Yes, sir.
Capitalism lifts us up from poverty. There are 3
It does.
branches of government, not 4.
Mhm.
And the U.S. Constitution, it is the strongest guarantor of
I didn't hear the bell on
freedom
this
in
one
human
either. I was
history.
too interested.
That is what won us the American
Yeah.
Revolution. That is what will win us the revolution of 2024.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Let's
letting me do
go,
this.
Ramaswamy. Coming in with the heat. I hate
Look at
him.
him
I
standing
hate the
there
way he
all
looks.
proud.
He looks like Homelander so bad.
This is our time for choosing. We
Not
will
you,
send
we're
Joe
not choosing you.
Biden back to his basement and we will reverse the decline
His
of this
basement.
country. I'm a blue collar kid. I work minimum wage jobs to be able to make ends meet. I understand the importance of the American dream, and I know how that's slipped away from so many millions of Americans. We'll restore it. I'm a veteran who served in Iraq. I know what it means to
Golly,
put
we
service
know.
above self. I'm also a dad and a husband to 6'5" and 3-year-old. I understand the importance
A
of
6'5",
protecting
3-year-old?
parents' rights
Damn.
and the well-being of
Damn.
Florida, and we showed it could be done.
A
I made
6'5",
promises,
3-year-old
and
was
I
congrats,
delivered
bro.
on all of those
You'll be
promises.
rich in the NBA.
2024 is make or
Right.
break. We're
He's
not
20
getting a
feet tall by the
mulligan.
time he's
No
18.
excuses. I will get the job done, and as your president, I will not let you down. God bless you all.
Thanks.
I think his was the shortest.
Thank you to all the candidates on the stage tonight.
Pence
Dude,
is-
Ramaswamy fucking killed it, bro.
Fuck yeah, he did.
See you on the campaign trail, from debates to primaries to the general election and the
Oh.
conventions before that. Thanks for joining us. Sean Hannity from the Spin Room starts right now.
Take it away, Sean.
Take it away, Sean.
What a
Dude.
fucking night.
Ramaswamy.
And Pence and just shook hands? No. Did you see DeSantis just walk off after everyone was shaking hands?
Yeah. Dude,
Wow.
I fucking hope that,
What a
that Ramaswamy
fucking
makes
time.
it to the primaries.
If he does against Joe Biden, bro, that would be crazy.
Oh, it would
Has
be
there ever been
over,
a has
bro.
there ever been a president that hasn't made it to the primaries? Like they just get outcasted? Or is it
Ooh.
always it's just always has to be them?
No, it's always the primary. Like
Okay,
whoever's in the
okay.
primaries, yeah.
Cuz that'd be funny if it was like some Democrat that just like was in the primaries and Biden had no chance at all.
No, I think so. The American what the Democratic Party did is they're just pushing Biden, right? They're just pushing
That's
for
true.
Biden, and that's
Has
it.
anyone said they were
Because
running on the Democrat side?
yeah, there's a couple running, but I don't think they're even going to be hosting any debates.
Is it gonna be that gay guy again? Booty juice?
Bug gig, I don't know.
Senator Booty Juice?
Let's see.
Time to